without the
2020, sponsored by the
Dude, I can hear her voice. What's that mean?
Debates.
I mean,
This
she's
is the
there.
page of USA Today. It is my honor to moderate this debate, an important part of our democracy.
All right, we should be live.
Tonight, we have a small,
I'm not sure how good this is.
Audience, and we've taken extra
It's
precautions.
good. Can you turn her up at all, or is that
Among
max?
other things,
Where are
everyone
we watching
in
this
the audience
at?
is required to wear a
This
face
is
mask,
C-SPAN.
and the candidates will be
I'll send you a link.
apart.
Oh,
The audience is enthusiastic about their candidates, but they've agreed to express that enthusiasm only twice. At the
They're
end
saying
of the
you can
debate,
only express
and now,
enthusiasm
when I
twice. This
introduce
sounds
the
a whole lot like a
candidates,
mask law.
please welcome California Senator Kamala Harris and Vice President Mike Pence.
You may express enthusiasm now.
all right. Let's see. So I need to open that up in a separate screen.
Yep.
Oh, they got closed captioning on here. Let's see how good this is.
Oh boy.
Senator Harris and Vice President Pence, thank you for being here. We're meeting as
I haven't
President
watched
Trump
one
and the
since
First Lady
Dick
continue to
Cheney.
undergo treatment in Washington after testing positive for COVID-19.
Yeah.
Sarah Palin was good.
We send our thoughts and
Yeah,
prayers for their rapid and complete recovery, and
Yeah.
for the recovery of everyone
Yes.
afflicted by
Yeah.
the
I'm gonna leave the
coronavirus.
Sarah
Look
Palin
at that
thing on.
Two
plastic
campaigns and the
shield.
Commission on Presidential Debates have agreed to the ground rules
Come on. Do they understand how
to
germs work?
enforce them on
No.
behalf of the millions of
No, they
Americans
trust
who
the
are watching.
science. They don't need to know how it
One
works.
note, no one in either
They let the
campaign
scientists
or at
tell
the
us.
There's
commission
no way
What
a
we
germ
need to
can
know.
get around that.
has been
They can
told
get
in
around
advance
that.
what topics I'll raise and
What?
what
That's
questions
it.
I'll ask. This 90-minute debate
Yeah,
will be divided into
germs are
9 segments of about 10
Terribly
minutes each. I'll begin a segment by posing a question
in
to each of
un,
you.
un,
Sometimes the same question, sometimes a different
unintelligent
question
creatures.
on the
So
same topic. You will then have 2 minutes to answer without
they'll never be able to
interruption
figure their way
by
around
me or the other
Yeah,
a
Trump's
glass
Then
laughing
we'll
right
take
now when
6
they
minutes
talk
or
about the
so
not
to discuss
interrupting. He's
each.
like, yeah.
At that point,
Yeah.
although there will always be more to say, we'll move on to the next topic. We
Hey, Diet
want a
Soda, you saw
debate
that
is
Trump
lively,
released all of
but
those,
Americans also deserve a
declassified
discussion
all that
that is
information.
civil. These are tumultuous
What was the
times, but we
information,
can
Q?
and will have a respectful
From the,
exchange about the big issues facing our nation. Let's begin with the ongoing.
They figured out that
the
the CIA and the FBI was aware of the illegal wiretapping. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
So
Over
it
the
was
past
a
week,
full-on
Johns Hopkins
conspiracy
reports that
inside job.
39
Yes,
states
yes,
have
it
had
was.
more
Oh my
COVID cases
gosh.
over the past 7 days than in the week before. 9 states
Weird.
have set new records.
Yeah.
Even if a vaccine is released
And of
soon,
course, the
the
press
next
is not
administration will
reporting
face
on it
hard
at all. They're
choices.
just nothing to see.
What would a Biden
No, they're not talking about
administration
Ilhan
do in
Omar
January
buying
and
votes
February
either, but you
that
know.
a Trump
Yeah.
administration wouldn't do?
Can't talk
Would you
about that.
impose new
No,
lockdowns
no,
for
no, no,
businesses
not at
and
all.
schools
Okay,
in
how come
hotspots?
none
A
of no
federal
candidates are
mandate to wear
talking
masks?
this? There you
2
go,
minutes to
Camilla.
respond without interruption.
Kamala.
Susan.
It's racist
Kamala.
to not say her
the
name
American
properly.
people have witnessed
Kamala.
what is the
There you go.
greatest
There you go.
failure of
All right,
any presidential administration.
I'm gonna go get some coffee and some booze. I'll be right back. Diet Soda,
210,000
Take over.
people in our country.
do a
Get
good
in
the
job.
last several months. Over 7 million people who have contracted.
Do a good job.
what's-
1 in 5 businesses.
Does she ever
closed.
not do a good job?
We're looking at frontline workers who have been treated.
Don't answer.
Careful,
like
careful.
sacrificial
You've
I don't-
already,
Yeah,
you've already stepped it in
I
one.
can't think of
We're looking at
anything.
Over 30 million people. who are
Q,
I'm gonna
is
go
it
get
racist
coffee
to
and
say
a
that
drink.
she's a hot black woman,
Unemployment.
or do I have to say that,
And here's the
that
thing.
she's a hot middle-aged hot
On
woman?
January
Wait.
28th,
She's not
Vice President
black
and the
though.
President
So
were
that therein lies the problem.
about the nature
She
of
didn't
this
vote for Joe
pandemic, they
Biden,
were
that's for
informed
damn
that it's
sure.
lethal consequence, that it is airborne, that it will affect young people, and that it would be contracted
She was listening to pot,
because it
guys.
was airborne.
She's got cred.
And they knew
Look at
what was
Pence over there.
happening,
That's-
and they didn't
that's my
tell
man.
you.
Wait,
Can
the
you
only
imagine
downside
if
is
you
I
knew on
can't hear.
January 28th,
Why is
as
this not
opposed to
playing
March
through my
13th,
through
that they
my?
knew what you might have done to prepare?
It should be playing through
Are
my.
you
And
playing
they
the
covered it
C-SPAN
up.
feed through
The
on your
president
screen
said it
and
was a
listening to it?
hoax.
No,
They
I
minimized
am,
the
but I'm
seriousness
playing
of
it
it.
from
The president
a
said, you're on one side
in a
of this
separate
ledger if you
screen.
wear a mask, you're
Yeah,
on the
so
other
am I.
side
I
of
don't
this
understand
ledger
why I can
if
hear
you
it.
don't.
I can hear it.
And in spite of
I can
all
hear
of
it,
that,
but it's coming
today
out of
they
the speakers
still
in
don't
my
have a plan. They
it's not
still
coming through
don't
my
have a plan. What Joe
headphones.
Biden does. And our plan is about what we need to do around a national strategy.
Since when did she
for
become a
contact
Joe
tracing,
Biden
testing,
fan? That's all I
the
want to know.
administration of the vaccine,
I mean,
and
because
making sure that
he
it
was a
will be free
racist,
for all.
a flaming
That is
racist
the plan that
lunatic.
Joe
Remember,
Biden
she was
has
the little
and that I
girl
have, knowing that we've
who,
gotten all of what has been going on, and we need to
oh yeah,
save
she
our
believed all
country.
women as long as they were
And Joe
talking
Biden
about
is the best
a
leader to do that,
Republican.
and
But
frankly,
I
this
mean, of
administration
course,
has
when they're talking about
forfeited
creepy
Thank you.
their
Joe,
right to reelect
Yeah.
then everything is all
Thank you,
bueno.
Senator Harris.
I don't get why
Vice
she
President
was
Pence,
saying
more
it
than
was a cool black
210,000
move
Americans have
to be
died of
for
COVID-19
busing,
since February.
and then
The
Biden was
U.S.
trying to
death toll as a
stop their
percentage of our
busing and keep it from getting
population
education.
is
Because
Is
higher
it a
she
than
black
was-
that
thing
of
to
almost
like
every other
busing?
wealthy nation on earth.
You'll have
For
to help me,
instance, our
Q, because
death
I don't
rate
know
is
anything
2.5
about
times that of Canada next
your
door.
your people.
You head the administration's coronavirus task force.
It's like National
Is the U.S.
Geographic.
death toll
Right?
percentage of our
Help me
population
out,
higher
Q. Help
than that of
translate.
almost every
Why
other
is
Yeah,
wealthy
can you-
busing? Why is
You have
she
2
always
minutes
a
to respond
busing?
without
Yeah, what's
Susan,
with this
thank
whole
you.
busing
And I wanna thank
thing?
the commission and
Could
the
you say
University of
this
Utah
in
hosting this
could you
event.
say this in
Senator
white?
Harris,
Yeah.
privileged to be on the stage.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
is this a good thing? Is this something that your family
nation's
loved
gone
the
through a
idea
very
of?
challenging
Q?
time.
Busing?
Actually, you know what? The weird part about
But
it
I
is
want
my
the American
grandmother
people to
thought the
know
integration was the
that
worst
from
thing
the
that ever
very
happened to black
first
people.
day,
Yeah.
Yeah,
There are a lot of
President
people
Trump
that
put
think
the health
that.
of America first.
Yeah.
Before there
She
were
felt
more than
like it
5
caused us
cases
to
in the
have
United
to
States,
associate
all
with the
people who had
savage white
returned
people,
from
and she
China.
thought that was going to
President Donald
lower
Trump
the
did what
IQ
no
level and
other
break
American
apart the black
president
family.
ever
I mean,
done.
she had part of it right.
And
I
that was
mean,
he
but I can't
suspended
necessarily blame it on.
As a
travel from
white
China, the
devil, I
second
somewhat
largest
concur.
economy
Well,
in the
I mean,
world.
I would say as a white
Now,
liberal, but and I
Senator
don't necessarily
Joe
put you in that
Biden
category. But white liberals are an
that
entirely
decision.
different
He said it was
Yeah.
xenophobic
species.
and
The only thing I have in
hysterical.
common with
But I
white
can tell you,
liberals
having led the White
is the
House
white
Coronavirus
part.
Task Force, that decision
I'm
alone,
just
President
saying.
bought us invaluable time to stand
The
up
thing
to
I
the
have in
greatest
common
national
with the black
mobilization
conservative
since
is the
World War II.
conservative part, which I
And I
find
believe
far
it
more
saved hundreds
important
of
than
thousands
the
of
skin
American
color.
lives.
I mean,
Because with
fair
that
enough.
time, we were able to reinvent
Fair enough.
testing.
I'm
More than
still trying to
150
figure out how
million
in the
tests have been
world
done to date.
to
We were
play
able to
this
exceed
through
the
my
delivery of
headphones.
billions of
This
supplies
is
so our doctors
ridiculous,
and
bro.
I
nurses
was
had the
Q. I
resources
was
support they
going to
needed.
try
And we began
listening to it on my
really
cell
before the
phone
month of February
through
was
an
our to develop a
earpod,
vaccine and to
earbud,
develop
to
medicines
run
and
the
therapeutics. We've been
C-SPAN through
saving
your
lives all
phone so
along
you
the
can
way.
hear it.
And under President Trump's leadership, Operation
Um,
Warp Speed, we believe will
Hold
have
on, let's see something.
literally tens of millions
Or
of
if you have a little
people
speaker, you
vaccinated
can run
before
it
the
into your
end of
ear
this
because you
year.
just don't want it to be able
The
to be picked
reality
up
is
by
when
your
you look at the
microphone. It
Biden
doesn't
plan,
matter
it
what you
reads an
listen
awful
to
lot
it on.
like what President Trump and I and our task force have been doing every step of
Throw,
the
See,
way.
throw
now
one
the
earpiece
only
in.
downside is
When I look
now
at their plan that talks
I
about
can hear.
advancing testing, creating new PPE,
Dang, he hit him
developing a
with the
vaccine.
plagiarism part.
Yeah.
Wait, he
looks a
did
little bit like
plagiarize though,
plagiarism,
so it's not
which
like
is
they
something
can
Joe
actually
Biden
play
knows a
that
little bit
down.
about. And I think the American people
Look at
know
her
that
sparkling
this
little
is a president
smile.
who
She's
has
kind
put
of a
the
Thank you,
health of
cutie.
America first.
Oh, why they
and the
want to
American
cut the man
people, I
off
believe,
now?
with
They
my
want to
heart.
cut his mic when he
And
starts
thank you for
talking
all the
about Joe Biden
sacrifices
and his
they have
plagiarism.
made
That's
I
right.
mean,
Thank
I
you,
mean,
Mr.
this is a man. You know, you gotta be pretty damn
Would you like to
stupid to
respond?
plagiarize like
Absolutely.
multiple
Whatever
times.
the
Like
vice
this dude
president is planning,
plagiarized
the
not
administration
once,
has
not
done.
twice,
Yeah.
Clearly, it
but
hasn't
like
worked.
a dozen
When you're
friggin'
looking at over
times.
210,000 dead
And
bodies in our
Q,
country,
let me give you the bigger
American
strategy
lives
here that's going
that have been
on,
lost,
because I
families that
love
are grieving
Pence.
that loss.
Pence
And you know,
talking about
the vice
plagiarism and
president is the
insulting
head of the task
Biden has
force
way more weight than Trump,
and
because
knew
Trump is an
on
insulting
January
guy. Look
28th
at
how
Pence.
Yeah.
Did
serious
that
this
guy
was.
look
And
like
then
an
thanks to
insulting
Bob
guy?
Woodward,
No, he actually looks
we learned
like a
that they
real
knew
cool
about it,
character.
and then
He looks
when
like
it was
the accountant at
exposed,
your church.
the vice president said,
Yeah,
when
yeah,
asked,
he looks
well,
like
why
he
aren't
could
y'all
be
telling everybody?
the head of the
He said,
ushers
because
board.
the
That's
president wanted
exactly
people to
right. He's
remain
the
calm.
president of the
Well, let's
So
get
I
Ushers for
this-
America.
This is important.
Susan, I
And I
have
want to
to
add,
weigh
but
in here.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
I have to
I'm
weigh
speaking.
Yeah, you can.
Oh.
Oh, wait a
Give the vice
minute.
president a chance to
So I want to ask
Wait
the
a minute.
American
Now,
people,
see,
how come?
Now
Where's the
I gotta
glowing
answer
eyes?
Where are you
this.
gonna get your
I
next
was
phone
extremely
call?
calm. We went to
How calm were
Costco.
you
We got
when your
ourselves
kids
a
were
nice
sent home
big
from
old
school and
chunk
you
of
didn't know
toilet
when they could
paper.
go back? How calm
I
were
mean,
you
it was
when
the
your
cheap,
children
you
couldn't see
know,
your
single
parents because you were afraid
single.
to
Let's give Vice President Pence a chance to
It
respond.
was the
Vice President,
government
you have
toilet
1 minute
paper.
to
The
respond.
Big
government,
old
yeah.
pie that
The
I have
government.
for every
Wooden,
American family
it's like a
that's lost
sheet
a
of
loved one.
a shingle.
And I want all of you to know that you'll always be in our hearts and in our prayers.
Ooh wee.
But when you say what the American people,
Boy, I
have
tell you
done
what
over
though,
these last
Kamala's
8
got that
months
lace
hasn't
front
been
working though, boy. That
It's a
wig
great
is
disservice.
working.
Yeah.
the
Did Pence
sacrifices
just
the
give
American
the white
made.
people version of bless your
The
heart?
reality, if
Oh yeah, he
I may
did.
finish,
He
sir.
did. Look
The
at Pence
reality
white
is, Dr.
splaining.
Fauci said,
He's white
everything
splaining
that
the
he
hell
told
out of
the
this one.
president in the Oval Office, the president told the American people.
I think these two
Now,
should get
President
married.
Trump, I will
They're a
tell you, has
good-looking
boundless
couple.
confidence.
Look at that lady. Look at that
We always
handsome
spoke with
man.
confidence that we'd get through this together.
She looks
But
like
when you
she's
say it
admiring
hasn't
him.
worked,
Look, I know her
Dr.
smile is
Fauci and Dr.
she's
Birx
a
and our
knockout.
medical
I'm
experts
telling
came
you,
to us
the
in the
audience is
second
probably
week of
freaking
March.
out at this. But
They
I'm
said
telling
if the
you, there's
president
nothing
didn't
wrong.
take the unprecedented
This is a woman who
steps
slept
like
her
to
way
shut down
into the
roughly
top.
half of the
She slept her
American
way into this
economy,
position. You
that
know,
we could lose 2.2 million Americans.
she's a homewrecker.
That's the reality.
Thank you.
He's
They
so
also said
calm.
to us
He
if we
is
did
so
Yeah.
calm.
right,
He's
then
ice.
we could still lose more than 200,000 Americans.
Vice President
one
Pence.
And
life
hey, you
lost
got to
to this
credit him for his hair
pandemic
too. Like that is
The
some
American people, I
fantastic
believe,
hair.
deserve
Yeah, that
credit
came out of the
for
you know
sacrifices
those
that they have
those
made
plastic
for the
molds
health
that
of
they
their
use,
family,
the
their
vacuum
neighbors,
forms that they use on
doctors, our
Hot
nurses,
Wheels.
our first
Thank you,
Right.
Vice President Pence.
And I'm going to speak up on behalf of what the American
Oh my
people
God, there's the
Vice President Pence, you
buzzword,
were in the
church.
front row in a
Super
Rose Garden
spreader.
event 11 days ago. What seems to have been a super spreader event
Got
for
him
senior
twice,
administration
yep.
congressional officials. No social distancing, few masks, and now a cluster of coronavirus cases among those who were there. How can you expect Americans to follow
wow.
the administration's
Are you
safety
like
guidelines to protect
victim
themselves
shaming
from
him
COVID?
because he got
She is.
The
sick?
White House has
Seriously?
not done so.
How you gonna hit a man with, oh, you
the
guys got
American
sick,
people
so you
have
guys, oh
demonstrated
wow.
over the last 8 months.
So
Got him.
everyone
They can give
who
the
got
facts.
sick,
They're willing to
it's
put
their
the
own
health of their
fault.
families and their neighbors,
Okay.
people they don't even
You got
know first.
COVID? Yeah.
right.
Screw
President
you.
Trump
You
and I
should have
have
been
great
wearing your
confidence
mask.
in
Yeah.
the American people and their ability to take that information and put it into practice. In the
I'm
height of
saying
the
I'm all for
epidemic,
blaming
when we
Trump
were
for
losing
getting sick, whatever,
a
as long as we're
heartbreaking
also
number of
blaming Ruth Bader
2,500 Americans a
Ginsburg for
day,
being old
we
and getting
surged
cancer.
resources
As
to
long
New
as we're
Jersey
just
and
saying
New
everyone's
York and
everyone's
and
you know,
Detroit.
the
We told
fault.
the American people what needed to be done, and the American people made the sacrifices. When the outbreak in the Sun Belt happened this summer, again, Americans stepped forward. But the reality is the work of the President of the United States goes on.
Why are you gonna
A
shut him
vacancy on
off
the
now? He's
Supreme Court
talking.
of the United
Come on, he
States
was going somewhere.
has come upon us, and the President introduced Judge Amy
Get to a
Coney
point.
Barrett.
They can't have
Thank you,
that.
Vice
But at
President Pence.
that, if I may say, that Rose Garden event, then great.
So her
deal of
smile with her
celebration.
eyes up, that's body
My
language
wife
kind of
Karen
I'm
and I were
laughing
there
at
and
you.
honored to be there.
Incredulous.
Many of the people
She
who
blinks
were
more
at
than
the
Joel
event actually
Osteen, though.
were tested.
Like
You
the
can never
Yeah,
trust
yeah.
somebody that blinks that
It
much.
was an outdoor event, which all of our scientists regularly.
Just to close her eyes often so the
advise.
horizontal
The
lids
difference
can be
here
at
is
work.
President
Those
Trump
cannot be her.
trusts the
Hey,
American
soda, diet
people
soda,
to make choices in the best interest of
diet
their
soda. Are you there?
health. Joe
I'm
Biden and Kamala Harris.
Experiencing some audio issues on this end.
Mandates and not
Could
just
those
mandates
possibly
with the
be her
coronavirus,
actual
but
eyebrow?
the government takeover
eyelashes.
of healthcare.
Thank you. Thank
The
you, Vice
Green New
President
Deal.
She
No,
says
not at all.
probably not.
We're about 3
You
months
wouldn't.
expecting to
This
see the
chick
American
is
people.
unrecognizable
respecting
at
the
2 o'clock in
American
the
people.
morning. I promise you.
Respect the American people when you tell them the truth. You respect
She looks
the
like a
American people when you
potato.
have the
Someone stuck a
courage
potato
to be
on
a
her
leader.
body at 2 o'clock in the morning.
You may not want
Like
people
someone
to hear
stuck
what they
two
need to
raisins
hear
on
so
a
they can
potato.
protect
You'd go, what in
themselves.
the world
But this
happens to
administration
you?
stood on information that if
Wow,
you had as
that's
a parent,
fantastic.
if you had as a worker knowing you didn't
But
have
what I'm
enough
looking at
Hey,
right now,
wait a
I
minute.
think she's
Hold
very-
up.
now you're
Church,
standing in a
church,
food line
church.
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I know
the
you're in like
ineptitude of
backwoods,
an
South
administration
Carolina,
that was unwilling
Yes.
to
and you're
speak the
in
truth to the
backwoods,
American people.
Tennessee, Doug.
So let's
That's right.
talk about
How many
caring about
food
the
lines have
American
y'all
people.
been
The
in?
American people have had to sacrifice far too
I've been,
much because
I've
of
been
the
in a couple,
incompetence
yeah.
of this administration.
I mean,
It is
recently
asking
because
too
of
much of the
COVID.
people.
Susan, we talked
No.
about
Vice
Oh,
It is
no.
asking too much of the
Yeah, I'm
people.
trying to figure
Look,
out.
they would
I mean,
not
because I
give
thought
up the
Breadlines was
information
exactly
they
where
need to help
where
themselves
Sanders
to protect
wanted us
their
to be
parents
anyway.
and their
I mean,
That's
so
right. Bread lines are
Kamala
good.
Harris, Senator
I mean,
Harris
Breadlines
said
are
something.
actually
No, no, no.
fantastic.
Your
That's
Senator
what he
Harris
said.
today-
He said the system's working when you're in a bread line.
Dr. Anthony Fauci.
But
and other
now,
experts
because
say
it's Trump's
that
bread
most of
line,
the
it's
people who
bad.
can be
Orange
vaccinated
man bread
need to
lines.
be vaccinated. But half of Americans now say they wouldn't take a vaccine if it was released now. If the Trump administration approves a vaccine before or after the election, should Americans take it, and would you take it?
If the public health professionals, if Dr. Fauci, if the doctors tell us that we should take it, I'll be the first in line to take it. Absolutely. But if Donald Trump tells us that we should take it, I'm not taking it.
Vice President Pence, there have been a lot of repercussions from this pandemic. In recent days, the president's president's diagnosis of COVID-19 has underscored the importance of the job that you hold and that you are seeking. That's our second topic tonight. It's the role of the vice president. One of you will make history on January 20th. You will be the vice president to the oldest president the United States.
Okay, I think we finally got audio stuff
Donald Trump
sorted
will
out
be
over here.
74 years old on Inauguration Day. Joe Biden will be 78 years old.
No, you're
That
not back.
already
What
has
on
raised
earth?
concerns among some voters, concerns that have been sharpened
Try
by
again.
President Trump's
Am I back?
hospitalization. in
Yeah, there
recent
you are.
days. Vice President Pence, have you had a conversation or reached an agreement with President Trump about safeguards or procedures when it comes to the issue of presidential disability? And if not, do you think you should? You have 2 minutes without interruption.
Well, Susan, thank you, although I would like to go back.
I think we need to move on
well,
to the
thank
issue
you,
of
but I would like to
vice
go back
presidency.
because the reality is that we're going to have a vaccine, Senator, in record time, in unheard of time, in less than a year. We have 5 companies in phase 3 clinical trials, and we're right now producing tens of millions of doses. So the fact that you continue to undermine public confidence in a vaccine, if the vaccine emerges during the Trump administration, I think is unconscionable. And Senator, I just ask you, stop playing politics with people's lives. The reality is that we will have a vaccine, we believe, before the end of this year. And it will have the capacity to save countless American lives. And your continuous undermining of confidence in a vaccine is it's just unacceptable. And let me also say, the reality is when you talk about failure in this administration, we actually do know what failure looks like in a pandemic. It was 2009. The swine flu arrived in the United States. Thankfully, it ended up not being as lethal as the coronavirus. But before the end of the year, when Joe Biden was vice president of the United States, not 7.5 million people contracted the swine flu. 60 million Americans contracted the swine flu. If the swine flu had been as lethal as the coronavirus, in 2009, when Joe Biden was vice president, we would have lost 2 million American lives. His own chief of staff, Ron Klain, would say last year that it was pure luck that they did, quote, everything possible wrong. And we learned from that. They left the Strategic National Stockpile empty. They left an empty and hollow plan, but we
Thank you,
still
Vice
learned
President
from it.
Pence.
And I think
Vice
the
President
American
Pence, your time
people,
is
I'm going
up.
to say again, can be
Vice
proud
President Pence, I'm sorry,
of
your
what
time
we
is
have
up.
done. And Senator, please
Thank you, Vice
stop
President
undermining
Pence.
confidence in a vaccine.
Senator Harris, let me ask you the same question that I asked Vice President Pence, which is, have you had a conversation or reached an agreement with Vice President Biden about safeguards or procedures when it comes to the issue of presidential disability? And if not, and if you win the election next month, do you think you should? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
So let me tell you, first of all, the day I got the call from Joe Biden, it was actually a Zoom call, asking me
Work
to...
for a racist, why don't you go work for the Trump
It was
administration?
probably one of the most memorable days of my life.
Right.
I thought about my mother.
Yeah.
No, that woman's going to
Who
come back out
came
and
to
say
the
that she
United
was
States at the
mistaken
age
and
of
it was
19,
actually the Supreme Court
gave
nominee
birth to
that
me at
did
the age
that.
of 25
Yeah.
at Kaiser Hospital in Oakland,
I
California.
guarantee you Trump's going to have her at the next
The
debate.
thought that I'd be sitting
Sit in
there,
front row.
I know, would make her proud. She must be looking down.
Yeah, stand up.
Joe and I were raised in a very similar way.
I swear
were
the
raised
next
with
the next
values that
debate,
are
Trump
about
should
hard
smell
work,
his fingers.
about
Oh,
Like, hey,
God.
before I debate you,
the dignity
Joe,
of public
I gotta
service,
smell your
and
fingers.
about the importance of fighting for the dignity of all
I
people. And
I
think
want
Joe
to smell
asked
your
me to serve
fingers.
with
Hey,
him
I'll let you
because
sniff.
I have a
I'll let
career
you
that
sniff
included being
Melania.
elected the first woman to San Francisco,
Joe
where I
Biden's like,
created models of
done,
innovation for law
done,
enforcement in terms of
so
reform of the
done. I'll
criminal
do it.
justice system. I was elected the first
Race
woman
card.
of color and black
Oh,
woman
yeah.
to
Take a
be
drink.
elected Attorney General of the state of California, where I ran the second largest department of
Oh,
justice in the
trans.
United
Isn't that a
States,
race?
second only to the United
Yes.
States Department of Justice.
Yeah,
From there,
I'm
I
trans
took on
black.
everything from transnational criminal
I got that.
organizations to the big banks that were taking advantage of homeowners, to for-profit colleges that were
Man,
taking
actually, I
advantage of
got the
veterans.
best of
And
both
then,
worlds.
of
I
course,
got the
now I serve
opposite
in
of
the
what
United
Michael
States
Jackson
Senate as
had.
only the
It's
second
called
black woman ever
the
elected to the
revitiligo.
United States Senate. I
Revitiligo,
serve
that's
on the
right.
Senate Intelligence
right.
Committee, where I've been a
Hey, Doug,
regular receipt
just send
of
Q
classified
$2.50.
information
He'll
about
hook you up with a
threats to our
card that'll
nation
give
and
you
hotspots
speaking
around
rights
the
on
world.
the.
I've traveled the world. I've
Okay,
met
all right,
okay.
good.
soldiers
Well,
in
hey,
in war
Well, you can
zones.
drop some bombs, my
And
man.
I think Joe has asked me to serve with him because
Let
he
'em
knows that
fly.
we share a purpose, which is about lifting up the
You better-
American people.
Well,
And after
fortunately for you,
4
you're on our
years that we have
platform,
seen of
so you
Donald
don't have to
Trump
worry about
unifying
getting
our country
deplatformed.
around our common values.
I designed that card.
Thank
Thank you.
Senator
I know
Harris.
it's
You know,
validity.
neither President Trump nor Vice President Biden has released a sort of detailed health information.
Misleading
that had become
answers.
the
No, we don't
modern
trust
norm
science
until the
anymore?
2016 election. And in recent days, President Trump's doctors have given misleading answers or refused to answer basic questions about his health. And my question to
Do we not have
people
HIPAA
in
anymore?
turn
I'm just
is,
curious.
Is this information
Is the president not
voters
protected under HIPAA
deserve
law?
to know? Vice President Pence, would you like to go first?
That I honestly don't know.
Susan, thank you. And let me say, on behalf of the president and the first lady, how moved we've all been.
You're not
the
allowed.
outpouring
Kamala's
prayers
like,
and
on the first day
concerns
of my administration, there will
for the
be no
president.
praying
I
allowed
do
for
believe
Trump.
it's emblematic of the prayers and
Yeah.
concern that have ushered forth for every American impacted by the coronavirus.
Hey,
But the care of the
calm
president
down.
received,
Yeah. Like, well, you can pray, but you better not
White
pray at
House
church.
doctors was
Church is
exceptional.
outlawed.
and the transparency that
saying,
they
don't break
practiced
churches'
all
doors
along the way
down.
will continue.
Yeah.
Those are expensive.
The American people have a right to know about the health and well-being of their president, and will continue to do that. But I'm just extremely grateful and was
Ooh,
more than a little moved by the broad and bipartisan support. And Senator, I want to thank you and Joe Biden for your expressions of genuine concern.
Killer with
And I
kindness.
also want to
Get 'em,
congratulate
Pence.
you, as I did on that phone call, on the historic nature of your nomination.
Thank you.
I never expected to be
I
on
just
this
can't help it.
stage
He
4
looks
years
so
ago,
much like a
I know
tall
the
Cotton
feeling.
Hill.
But the reality is, we've got an election before the American people in the midst of this challenge.
Wait, can you guys hear Doug?
The stakes have never been higher, but I
Thank you.
think the
Thank
choice
you,
Yeah.
has never
President
been
Pence.
clearer.
wanna
Oh, I cannot hear
Senator
Doug.
Harris a chance to respond to the same question I asked.
He
which
looks
is,
like a
who
less
needs to have
creepy
right to
version
know
Yeah.
of Anderson Cooper.
about presidential candidates, and especially about presidents, especially when they're facing some kind of challenge.
That hair is
Absolutely, and that's why
unnaturally
Joe Biden
white.
has been
Like
so
that is
incredibly
like,
transparent. And
So
certainly
is
by
her skin.
contrast,
he looks like a,
President has not.
that's because she's not black, bro. She's
Health records,
Indian.
but also let's
But
look at taxes.
he looks like a
We
freaking
now know
a clean
because of
Q-tip
great
right now.
Investigative journalism that Donald Trump paid
yes.
$750.
I'm going to refresh my
That's
browser
where
here.
I've
I'll be
seen
right
him
back.
from.
First heard about it, I literally said, "You mean $750,000?" And it was like, "No, $750."
Joe
We now
Biden
know
sniffs
Donald
that
Trump
hair,
owes
he's going to be high for 3 weeks.
and is in debt. $400
Straight
million.
cane.
And just so everyone is
cane.
clear, when we say in debt, it means you owe money to somebody. And it'd be really good to know who the President of the United States, the Commander-in-Chief, owes money to, because the American people have a right to know what is influencing the president's decisions. And is he making those decisions on the best interest of the American people, of you, or self-interest? So, Susan, I'm
Oh,
glad
wait.
because
One
it
thing
has
we
to
don't
be
know about
across
Joe.
the board.
Oh,
Joe
he does?
has been incredibly transparent over many,
Honest.
many years.
So he's honestly
the one thing
racist.
we all know about Joe, he puts it all out
Covering
there.
up everything. That's
he is
interesting.
honest, he is forthright.
He definitely doesn't hide
but
behind his
Donald
dead
Trump,
kids
on
at
the
all.
other hand,
Susan.
has
No,
been
no, no, no,
covering
no.
up everything.
Thank you, Senator Harris. I want to give you a chance to respond, Vice President.
Well, look, I respect the fact that.
Yeah, especially
Joe
when you were
Biden spent
locking up
47
black
years
dudes
in
and
public
hiding
life. I
exculpatory
respect
evidence
your
that could have let them out.
public service.
Yeah, that was great.
The American people have.
That was great. You remember that one? That was awesome.
Businessman. It's a job creator.
When you were smoking weed
paid
and listening to
tens of
Tupac
millions of dollars
and then
in
going back
taxes,
and locking up
payroll
dudes for
taxes,
smoking weed.
property taxes.
Yeah,
Created
you
tens of
hypocrite.
Thousands of American jobs.
And working your way through a
The
married
president said
man.
those-
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
Not
She was
accurate.
getting.
And the president
Yeah.
also released literally stacks of financial disclosures the American people can.
Yeah.
review
Oh,
just
Willie
as the
Brown's
law
chew
allows.
toy
But
over there.
The distinction here is that Joe Biden, 47 years in
Maybe he
public
should come
service
out to Will-
compared
or to
President
WAP.
Donald
Oh yeah.
Trump,
Oh man, I would
all
love it if
those
Willie
years
Brown
ago.
was actually. If it
Thank you,
wasn't for
Vice President.
COVID, they would have Willie Brown on the front row.
Taxes, rolling back regulation,
Thank you,
unleashing
Vice
American
President
energy,
Pence.
fighting for free and fair trade.
You shut
and
Kamala up
all of
once.
that's
Thank you,
on the
Vice
line
President
If
Pence.
Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
You know, that's a
Great,
good
yeah,
segue
she's
into
agreed. That's
our
a great
third
segue.
topic,
I
which
agree. Thank
is
you.
about the economy. This has been another aspect of life for Americans that's been so affected by this coronavirus. We have a jobs crisis brewing. On Friday, we learned that the unemployment rate had declined to 7.9% in September, but that job growth had stalled, and that was before the latest round of layoffs and furloughs in the airline industry at Disney and elsewhere. Hundreds of thousands of discouraged workers have stopped looking for work. Nearly 11 million jobs that existed at the beginning of the year haven't
Yeah,
been.
let's get those jobs back under a
Those
firebrand
hardest hit
like
include
Biden.
Latinos, blacks,
Yeah.
That's
and
going to
women.
be.
Senator
let's send them all back to
Biden
China.
Harris
So wait,
campaign
all of a
supposedly
sudden now we
programs to
care
boost the
about
economy,
black and
he would pay
Latino
for that
unemployment?
Yeah.
new spending by raising $4
Yeah,
trillion
who had the lowest
in
unemployment
taxes on wealthy individuals
before the
and
Democrats made everybody wear
corporations.
masks and shut
Some
everything down.
economists warn that
Yeah.
could curb entrepreneurial
Yes, this is
ventures
definitely a question
that
for
fuel
the
growth and create jobs.
vice presidential
raising
candidates when
taxes
all of
put
this
the
was done by
poverty
states.
at
Okay,
risk?
that's
And
one
you have
against
2
Biden.
minutes
She
to
better.
answer uninterrupted.
Thank you. On the issue of the economy, I think there couldn't be a more fundamental difference between Donald Trump and Joe Biden.
Joe also
Biden
wants to raise
believes we measure
taxes.
the health and
Taxes.
strength of
She asked
America's
about
economy
taxes.
based on
Kamala.
the health and the strength of the American worker and the American family. On the other hand, you have Donald Trump, who measures the strength of the economy based on how rich people are doing, which is why he passed a tax bill benefiting the top 1%.
Doug, I know
and
you've
biggest
worked a lot of
corporations
jobs. Have you ever been
America,
hired by a
leading
poor
to
guy?
a
Have you ever had a poor guy
No.
offer you a job?
that the
Rich
American
guys,
people
man.
have to pay.
Behind
ever
an
had a-
alley.
And Joe Biden will repeal that tax.
That's right.
Get rid of it. And what he'll do with the money is invest it
I mean,
in
I've
the
been out
American
for $25 by a
and
sketchy
through
dude
a plan
before,
that is
but
about investing
not
in
a
infrastructure,
career.
something Donald Trump
I mean, we
said
understand that Kamala's been known to do something
I think that's
strange for a piece of
But
change,
Joe
but
Biden
for the
will
rest of
He'll
us,
invest in infrastructure.
for the
It's about
rest of
upgrading
us,
our roads and
we
bridges,
got to
but
go to
also
work every
investing
day,
in clean energy
and we got to
renewable
work for
energy.
wealthy
Joe is
people
gonna
in order to be
invest
able to
that
make money.
in what we need to do around innovation. There was a
We
time
had to
when
ask
our
them to
country
share that
believed in
wealth, which their
science
tax breaks kind of
and
helps them do.
invested in research.
Yeah.
How do we get on
Hey,
science?
unfortunately, I
Innovation
think trickle-down
leader
economics
on the
means something
globe.
totally
Joe Biden
different
will use that
for
money to
Kamala
invest
Harris.
in education.
I don't.
So, for
Well,
example,
the thing is
for
none of
folks
these
who wanna go to a
politicians
two-year
from
community
either side
college, it will be
understand that
free.
because
If
they
you
don't
come
work
from
for
a family
people
that makes less than
No,
who have.
$25,000,
They don't work for
you'll
people
go
who
to a
have gone
public
broke
university for
for a
free.
week because they just didn't
And
make their
across the
profit
board,
back
we'll
or
make
because
sure
there was an
that if
error
you
or
have
repair
student
in
loan
the
debt,
job,
it's cut by
and they had to reach in their
$10,000.
pocket to make payroll.
That's how Joe Biden thinks about the economy, which isn't
You know,
about
they just get paid
investing
by
in the
us
people
working.
of our country.
Yeah.
As opposed to passing a tax
Yeah.
bill, which had the benefit of letting American corporations go offshore to do their business.
Thank you,
You're
Senator
welcome.
Harris. Vice President Pence, your administration has been predicting a rapid and robust recovery, but the latest economic report suggests that's not happening. Should Americans be braced for an economic comeback that is going to take not months, but a year or more?
Well, that's
You
a
have
loaded
2 minutes to
question.
answer.
I mean,
Right.
it's kind of hard to
When President Trump
do
took
anything
office,
when the people who
America
are
had gone through
screaming the
slowest
sky is
economic
falling
recovery since the Great Depression.
are always
Joe
screaming the
Biden
sky
was
is
vice
falling.
president. They tried to
Yeah.
tax and spend,
Well,
and regulate, and bail our way back.
There
from
you go.
the
He's nailing
economy.
Obama for the
President Trump
slowest
cut taxes
economic
across the
recovery.
board.
And
Despite
Trump
what
nailed it.
Senator Harris says, the average American family of four had $2,000 in savings in taxes. And with the rise in wages that occurred, most predominantly for blue-collar, hardworking Americans, the average household income for a family of four increased by $4,000 following President Trump's tax cuts. But America, you just heard Senator Harris tell you, on day one,
boom.
Joe Biden's going to raise your taxes.
That's
She
what
got
Joe
Look
Biden
at
It's
this.
really
said.
remarkable to
Look at her
see.
She
smile.
keeps
She's
biting on
shaking her
him.
head. I
Like,
can't
well,
believe it.
no,
A
no,
time
no,
where we're
not
going
my
through a
Joe.
pandemic,
Not my
Biden.
Joe.
He ain't gonna
22 million
He wouldn't
jobs.
do that. Absolutely not. He
added
doesn't
back
believe that black people
11.6
belong on
million
buses.
jobs
But no,
because we
no,
were
he would
closely cut
never.
taxes, rolled
ever
back
raise
Difference in
regulations,
respect
unleashed
levels.
American energy,
Right.
fought for free and fair
When
trade,
she's speaking,
and
he's
secured
listening.
$4 trillion from the Congress of the United States to give direct payments to families, save 50
Oh,
million
that's such a
jobs through the
pain
Paycheck
smile.
Protection Program.
Oh yeah,
We
it
literally
is.
have spared no
Oh,
expense.
I
to
like
help
that
the
they're showing
American
both of them
people
at the
get
same
through
time. This is
the
great.
Oh,
year.
that's
Joe Biden
fantastic.
and Kamala
You give her
Harris
eyebrows up
wanna
now. Now she's
raise
like, I
taxes.
don't
They
believe
wanna
you,
bury
little
our
guy. Look
economy.
at you over
$2
there.
trillion Green New Deal, which you were one of
Uh-huh.
the original co-sponsors of in the United States Senate. They
Wow.
want to abolish fossil fuels.
Not a good
ban
look, Kamala.
fracking, which would cost hundreds of
Yeah, oh, he's going up to
thousands
fracking.
of American jobs all across the heartland. And Joe Biden wants to go back to the economic surrender to China, that when we took office, half of our international trade deficit was with China alone. And Joe Biden wants to repeal all of the tariffs that
And
President
his
Trump
son
put into
benefited
effect to
from
fight
Russia.
for American jobs and American
Yup.
workers. Joe Biden says democracy's on the ballot.
What's the matter,
Make
baby?
no mistake about it, Susan.
Boy, Trump ought to let
The American economy, the American
ought to
comeback
let
is
Pence
on
debate
the
for him
ballot
next time
with
because
four
Pence,
more
Yeah,
years
well,
of growth,
this guy's
Pence is
a
a
professional.
beast.
opportunity, four more
This
years of
guy is a
professional politician,
professional.
too.
Yeah.
2021
Thank
is
you,
going
Vice
to be the
President.
biggest economic year in the history of this country.
Thank you, Vice President Pence. Senator Harris.
Well, I mean, I thought we saw enough of it in last week's debate, but I think this
Bullshit!
deserves to be a
That's
debate
not
on
what
the
he
facts
said.
and truth.
That's
And
not
the
what
truth
he
and the
said
fact
in the
is,
last
Joe
debate.
Biden has been very clear. He will not raise taxes on anybody who makes less than $400,000
He said
a
he's
year.
going to
I'm speaking.
I'm speaking.
be important if you said the truth.
Interrupt me one more time.
Joe Biden said
Can we?
twice in the debate last
Is
week
it my
that he's going
impression
to
that
repeal
because
the
she's a
Trump tax
female vice
cuts.
president, we can pay her
That was
less?
tax cuts that gave
That's
the
what he
average
should say.
working family
Oh my gosh.
$10,000
Someone call the
in tax
police.
break every single
Should
year.
hold up his hand.
We're
and say,
witnessing
"Can
a
we not-
murder."
Absolutely not true.
She
I
like
have
she,
no
she just
we
asked
can
for
get you
permission,
as a
so he's got to
female
let her
vice
go.
president. Then we just get to save some
If
money
you
on
don't
your
mind letting me
salary.
finish, we can then have a conversation.
No,
Okay?
he hasn't. He
Please.
hasn't been clear about much of anything. I guarantee
Joe
he
Biden
couldn't
will not
remember
raise
what he said.
taxes
So
on
good thing
anyone
he's
who
got
makes
her.
Less than $400,000 a year. He has been very clear about that. Joe Biden will not end fracking. He has been very clear about that. Joe Biden,
Now he's doing the
is one
laugh and
who,
the.
during
Yeah,
the
it's coming
like it.
back.
Great Recession, was responsible
He's just not as
You
hot.
gotta get
when
down in
he-
the
for
mud
the
with him.
Recovery Act.
He's not as
that
cute.
brought America back, and now the Trump-Pence administration wants to take credit when they rode the coattails of Joe Biden's
She's like
success
looking at the camera.
for
Can
the
you believe
economy
this
that they
gal?
had at the beginning of their term. Of course, now the
Kill.
economy is a complete disaster. But Joe Biden, on the one hand, did that. On the other hand, you have Donald Trump, who has reigned over a recession that is being compared to the Great Depression.
So is she
On the
really
one
saying
hand, you
that
have Joe
where the
Biden,
recession we're in right
who
now
was responsible
is
with
worse than
fault.
President
2007?
Barack Obama,
She is.
Oh,
They,
yeah.
they don't. They act
Oh,
like
wow.
they don't know what
which
a
brought
COVID
healthcare to over
is. They're
20
like, huh?
million
What
Americans
pandemic?
and
They're going.
protected
This
people
is
with
Trump
pre-existing conditions. And what it
and
also
his
did
policies.
is it saved those families who otherwise were going bankrupt because of hospital bills they could not afford. On the other hand, you have Donald Trump, who's in
And
court
now
right now,
hospitals
trying
are
to get
going
rid of-
bankrupt.
Thank you, Senator
trying to
Harris.
get rid
Yeah.
of the Affordable
From staff
Care
they
Act,
can't
which
afford.
means that you will lose
I'm telling you, if America
protections
puts
if you
those
Oh,
have
wow.
puts Biden in office,
And
they
I just- this
deserve
is
the
very important,
economic
Susan.
fallout.
Yes, and
it's-
They,
and
we
we need to
absolutely
give-
deserve
we
the
need to give
biggest
Vice
I'd just
recession
like to,
slash
he interrupted
depression.
me, and I'd like
If
to.
Then you're going to die of
voted
COVID. If you have a pre-existing condition,
If you have a
heart
pre-existing
disease,
condition,
breast cancer,
heart
diabetes,
disease, diabetes, breast
you're going to die of
cancer,
COVID. She
they're
didn't.
coming for
Is that
you.
what she? No, she didn't say that.
If you love someone who has a pre-existing
nonsense.
condition,
Thank you. Thank
they're
you, Senator
coming for
Harris.
you. If you are
They're
under
coming
the
for
age
you.
of 26 on your parents' coverage,
They're coming for you.
Senator Harris.
Oh,
thank you.
no.
Let me give you a chance to respond.
Well, I hope we have a chance
They're
to talk
coming
about
to take
healthcare
me
because
away.
Obama
Ha ha!
couldn't
They're
remember
coming to
Mike.
take me
it.
away.
The
Ho
American people
ho!
remember it well. And President Trump and I have a plan.
The MMM is coming for us.
And to protect pre-existing conditions for
The
every
medical members of America.
But look, Senator Harris, you're entitled to your own
Ban
opinion,
it.
but you're not entitled to your own facts. You yourself said on multiple occasions when you were running for president that you would ban fracking. Joe Biden looked at a supporter in the eye and pointed and said,
I saw that video.
I guarantee that we will abolish fossil fuels. They have a $2
Oh, wow.
trillion version of the Green New Deal, Susan, that your newspaper, USA Today, said really wasn't that very different from the original Green New Deal. More taxes, more regulation, banning fracking, abolishing fossil fuel, crushing American energy, and economic surrender to China is a prescription for economic decline. President Trump and I will keep America growing. The V-shaped recovery that's underway right now will continue with 4 more
Oh,
years
boy.
of President Donald Trump in the White House.
Thank you very, very much, Vice President.
Again.
And once again, you
No.
provided the perfect
Are we
No, we
segue
can't
to a
keep
new
talking
topic,
about
which
this
is
because
climate
you'll win.
change.
Yeah,
And Vice
Right.
she's
President Pence, I'd
she's
like to
going.
close this
I've shown a lot of
Thank you.
men my V shape.
This year, we've seen
Let's-
record-setting hurricanes.
Do you want to see a V-shaped
Another
recovery?
Hurricane Delta is now
So
threatening.
how do
And
you
we've
think I
seen
got here?
record-setting
Yeah.
wildfires in the West. Do you believe, as the scientific community has concluded, that man-made climate
Wait,
change
wait. How can you
has made
have
wildfires
climate change
bigger,
that apply
hotter,
that
and
that
more
that
deadly, and
is
have made
responsible
hurricanes
for
wetter,
both
slower, and
rain
more damaging? You have 2
and
minutes uninterrupted.
Thank you, Susan.
fire?
Catch-all.
First, I'm very proud of our record on the environment
Wow.
and on conservation.
Magic, Q.
According to all of the best estimates, our air and land are cleaner than any time ever recorded. And our water is among the cleanest in the world. And just a little while ago, the president signed the Outdoors Act. It's the largest.
Wait, did
investment
CNN
in
talk
our
about that? I
public
don't remember
lands
seeing
and
that on
public
CNN.
parks
I don't remember
100
seeing
years.
Twitter blow up about it either.
So President
Oh,
Trump
no.
has made a commitment to conservation and to the environment. Now, with regard to climate change, the climate is changing. But the issue is, what's the cause and what do we do about it? President Trump has made it clear that we're going to continue to listen to the science. Now, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris would put us back in the Paris Climate Accord. They'd impose the Green New Deal, which would
Kamala's like,
crush
no, it'd be the
American
Brown New
energy,
Deal. Thank you very much.
increase the cost of
Yeah.
American
How y'all like
farmers
how you just brought
and
it back?
homes,
How you like how you
literally
just
would
brought it
crush
back?
American jobs. And President Trump and I believe that the progress that we have made in a cleaner environment
Segue my
has
ass.
been happening precisely because we have a strong free market economy. You know, what's remarkable is the United States has reduced CO2 more than the countries that are still in the Paris Climate Accord, but we've done it through innovation. And we've done it through natural gas.
Oh,
and
yeah,
fracking,
all the good words.
which
Those
Senator,
are
the American
Pennsylvania
people can
words right there.
go
Get
look
the
at the
fracking
record.
going.
Joe
Colorado,
Biden says
Texas.
otherwise now, as you do, but the both of you repeatedly committed to abolishing fossil fuel and banning of fracking. And so by creating the kind of American innovation, we're actually steering toward a stronger and better environment. With regard to wildfires, President Trump and I believe that forest management has to be front and center, and even Governor Gavin Newsom from your state has agreed we've got to work on forest management. And with regard to hurricanes, the National Oceanic Administration tells us that actually as difficult
you.
as they are,
Thank you, Vice President.
there are no more hurricanes today than
Thank
there
you.
were 100 years ago.
Thank you.
But many of the climate alarmists
President Pence,
use
I'm sorry, your time
hurricanes
is
and
up.
wildfires to try and
Thank
sell
you,
their
Vice
bill of
President
goods of a
Pence.
Green New
This
Deal.
dude is too
And
smooth.
President Trump and I are going to always put
Thank you,
American
Vice
jobs and
President
American
Pence.
work.
There ain't no one better, man. There's a reason why they put him on with
As
Trump.
the
You
Vice
know,
President mentioned, you
he's,
co-sponsored the Green New Deal in Congress. But
He's the
Vice
core.
President Biden said in last
He's the
week's debate
antithesis
that he
of
does
Trump.
He's the
not support
antithesis,
the
As
Green New
a, as
Deal.
a, as a
But if you
politician.
look at the Biden-Harris
They work really well
campaign
together.
website, it describes the Green New Deal as a crucial framework.
Oh, they
What
switched
exactly would be the stance of a Biden-Harris administration toward the
No, they
Green
don't.
New Deal? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Wait,
Sure.
wait.
So first
That's
of all,
not what he
I
said,
will
though.
repeat, and the American people know
You know what else is a fact? That Joe is a
Biden
pedo.
will not ban
Oh.
That's a
fracking.
fact.
That is a fact.
it. He liked to sniff kids.
That
That's
is
for
a
damn
He
sure.
likes to sniff little kids.
I will
That's
repeat
that's
that
a
Joe
fact.
Biden has been
You know what
very
else is a
clear
fact?
that he
Kamala
thinks
is a
about
hoe.
growing
Now
That's
that's
also a
real.
fact.
He will not
That's
increase taxes
facts.
for anyone who makes less than $400,000
I'm gonna keep it 100 with
a
you.
year. Joe Biden's economic plan, Moody's, which is a reputable Wall Street firm,
We'll all be
has said
government
we'll create
jobs.
7
They
million
should put
more
lifelines
jobs
in these
than
debates,
Donald
like in
Trump's.
Who Wants to Be a
And
Millionaire.
part of those jobs
Pence
will
calls
Who
it all
wants
up
to be
Willie
a
Brown.
VP in it?
be about the clean energy and
Hey,
renewable
Willie, can you help me with this?
Because you see,
Hey, let me
Joe
ask you.
understands
Hey,
that the west coast
hey,
of our
hey,
country is burning, including my home state
real
of
quick,
California.
Church.
Joe sees
What do you
is
think
happening
Willie's?
on
What
the
do you
Gulf
think
states,
Willie's
which are being battered by Joe
pet
has
name
seen
was
and
for
talked
Kamala?
with the farmers in Iowa.
Oh God!
whose
Can I
entire
say that on your
crops have been
channel?
destroyed because of the floods.
I mean,
Joe
she
believes,
kind
again,
of, she
in
kind
science.
of
I'll
looks
tell you
like a
something, Susan.
giraffe,
I
just
served
a little
as
bit with a
Senate
wrinkly neck.
on the committee that's responsible for
What
the
about
environment. Do you know
maybe
this
Kamala toe?
administration
Oh yeah.
science off the website
Come on.
and then took the phrase climate change off
He probably
the
called her
website?
his little moose knuckle.
We have seen a pattern with this
Probably just called her,
administration,
"Shut
which
up,
is they
bitch."
don't believe in science. And Joe's
Get me,
plan is
get
about
me more
saying we're
coke,
going to deal
woman.
with it, but we're also going to create jobs.
Wait, I gotta
Trump,
get,
when
I
asked
gotta
about the
call
wildfires in
up my
California,
my dealer,
and
Mike
the question
Pence.
was,
I gotta
the scientists
get
don't
it out of his hair.
Science doesn't know.
No, what it was is he would tell her to get him
So,
some coke, and she'd
Let's
just go
talk
convict
about
another
who
black
is
guy.
prepared to lead our country over
And
the
steal
course
all
of
of
the
it.
next
Yeah.
4 years on what is
I
an
tell you what,
existential
man, if
threat
that dude
to us
ever
as human
shook his
beings.
hair,
Joe
boy,
is
we would
about
all get
saying we're going to
high.
invest that in renewable energy. It's going to be about the creation of millions of jobs.
Got
We
that
will achieve
coca-nina.
zero emissions by 2050.
He's up in the
carbon neutral
rafters
by
at the Christmas
2035.
parade making
Joe
it
has
snow.
a plan. This has been a lot of talk from the Trump
Boy.
administration, and really it has been to go backward instead of forward. We will also re-enter the climate agreement with pride.
Senator
Oh,
Harris
man.
just said
This
that
ought to be
climate
good.
change is an existential threat. Vice President Pence, do you believe that climate change poses an existential threat?
As I said, Susan, the climate is changing. We'll follow the science. But once again, Senator Harris is denying the fact that they're going to raise
Got him.
taxes on every American. Joe Biden said twice in the
At it
debate
again.
last week that on day one he was going to repeal the Trump tax cuts.
Gotta get this
Those
man a
tax
mustache
cuts
and a
delivered
monocle.
$2,000
Right?
in tax relief to the average family of 4 across America. And with regard to banning fracking, I just recommend that people
Ooh.
look at the record. You yourself said repeatedly that you would ban fracking. You were the first Senate co-sponsor of the Green New Deal. And while Joe Biden denied the
Not
Green
for
New
long.
Deal, Susan, thank
I
you
bet
for
they are
pointing
taking
out
it off as we
Green New
speak.
Deal is on their campaign website. And as USA Today said, it's essentially the same plan as you co-sponsored with AOC when she submitted it in the Senate. And you just heard the senator say that she's going to resubmit America to the Paris Climate Accord. Look, the American people have always cherished our environment. We'll continue to cherish it. We've made great progress reducing CO2 emissions through American innovation and the development of natural gas through fracking. We don't need a massive $2 trillion Green New Deal that would impose all new mandates on American businesses and American families.
Thank you.
Joe Biden wants us
Thank
to
you, Vice
retrofit
President.
4 million
Thank you, Vice
American
President.
business buildings. It makes no sense. It will cost jobs. President Trump
Thank
is
you,
going to
Vice
put
President.
America first. He's going to put jobs first.
Say it,
He's gonna
Mike.
take
Make America
care
great
of
again.
our
Say it.
environment and follow the science.
Thank
But,
you, Vice
you know, on
President.
the issue of jobs,
Senator Harris.
let's talk about that. The vice president earlier referred to it as part of
How
what he
so?
thinks is
The
an
only
accomplishment.
way that they could get out of it was
the
by
president's
releasing a
trade war with
bioweapon.
China.
Are you serious
You
right now?
lost that trade war. You lost it. What ended up
Where did those
happening
jobs come from?
is because of a so-called trade war with China, America lost
Hey,
300,000
Soder, how many
manufacturing
bankrupt
jobs.
farmers do you know?
Farmers
They don't
because
discuss
of it.
their finances with
We're in a
me.
manufacturing recession
Oh.
because of it. And when we look at where this administration has been, there are estimates that by the end of the term of
You know,
this
it's funny that we
administration,
got so
they
low
will have
on our
lost
CO2
more
emissions
jobs
by
than
fracking
almost any other
and doing
presidential
natural gas,
administration.
a
And the
fossil
American people
fuel.
know what I'm talking about.
And they
You
want to
know,
stop that.
I think about 20-year-olds.
It's
You know,
also
we have a
really
20-year-old,
interesting that Kamala
a
Harris is really
20-something
concerned about
year-old
these
who
jobs,
are
so the
coming out of high
Democrats
school
wouldn't
and
come to the
college
table
right
for
now,
a
and they're
relief
wondering,
package
is there going to be a
for these
job
jobs.
for me? We're
I mean,
looking
but
at
she's
people
talking about
who are
kids that are coming
trying
out
to
of
figure
school
out
looking,
how
wondering if
they're
there's
gonna
going to be a
pay
job
rent
for
by
them.
the
I
end
mean,
of
when
the
you
month.
major in
Almost
gender
half of
studies,
American
how many
renters
jobs are
are
available
worried
for
about
you?
whether they're going to be able
I
to
mean, at
pay
least
rent
4 on the
by
fryers
the
at
end of the
McDonald's.
month. This is where the economy is in America right now, and it is because of the catastrophe and the failure of leadership of this administration.
Thank you, Senator Harris. Vice President Pence, let me give you just 15 seconds to respond because then I want to move on.
Well, I'd love to respond. Look, lost the
Get him!
trade war with
Get 'em!
China. Joe Biden never fought it. Joe Biden has been a cheerleader
Oh,
for communist
the
China
China are good.
over the last several decades.
You're entitled to your
And
opinion.
again,
You're not entitled to your own facts. I love it.
Opinion, you're not entitled to your own facts. When Joe Biden was
There
vice
it is.
president, we lost 200,000 manufacturing jobs, and President Obama said they were never coming back. He said we needed a magic wand to bring them back. In our first 3 years,
Hey,
She
Diet
just
Soda.
doesn't want to
rollback
hear the
regulation
truth.
unleashed
Diet
American
Soda, them
industry.
red pills are hard to swallow, ain't they?
500,000
Thank you, Vice
manufacturing
President.
jobs created. And that's exactly the kind of growth we're going to continue to see as we bring our nation through
Thank you, Vice
this
President.
pandemic. But a
Mr.
Green New
Thank you,
Deal, your
Vice
massive
President
new
Pence.
mandate.
That child was not happy about the red pill
It's
skew.
going to kill jobs
No.
this time, just like it killed jobs.
I'd like to-
I just need to respond very briefly,
15
please.
seconds and
Thank
then
you.
we'll move
Thank you. Joe Biden.
Or is that just
is
Kamala's
responsible
audio
for
coming
saving
through?
America's
Yeah.
arteries.
No, we had a crying baby over
voted
here.
Against it. So let's set the record straight. Thank you.
I'd like to talk about China. We have, as our next topic, we have no more complicated or consequential foreign relationship than the one with China. It is a huge market for American agricultural goods. It's a potential partner in dealing with climate change in North Korea. And in a video tonight, President Trump again blamed it
They
for the
better.
coronavirus, saying China will pay. Vice President Pence, how would you describe our fundamental relationship with China? Competitors, adversaries, enemies? You have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Susan. Well, let me, before I.
Joe
move on,
Biden
let me-
says,
let me
"Hey,
speak
I'm
to
sorry."
voting records
Pence
if I
says, "To
can.
hell with your question.
You
Let
know,
me answer
That's
the
right.
question I
Yeah,
want to
let's
answer."
take it somewhere. Let me go back and answer her first.
Thousands of American factories to close. We saw automotive jobs go south of the border. President Trump fought to renegotiate NAFTA. And the United States-Mexico-Canada agreement is now the law of the land. American people deserve to know Senator Kamala Harris was one of only 10 members of the Senate.
How dare you talk about my voting record?
It was a huge win for American auto workers. It was a huge win for American farmers, especially dairy in the upper Midwest. But Senator, you said it didn't go far enough on climate change, that you put your radical environmental agenda ahead of American auto workers and ahead of American jobs. The American people deserve to know that. Is probably why Newsweek magazine said that Kamala Harris was the most liberal member of the United States Senate in 2019. More liberal than Bernie Sanders.
More liberal than Bernie.
More liberal.
She's like, I'm a moderate. Thank you very much.
States Senate. So now, with regard to China, look, Susan, first and foremost,
Got him.
China is to blame for the coronavirus. And President Trump is not happy about it. He's made that very clear, made it clear again today. China and the World Health Organization did not play straight with the American people. They did not let our personnel into China to get information on the coronavirus until the middle of February. Fortunately, President Trump, in dealing with China from the outset of this administration, standing up to China that had been taking advantage of America for
I bet you
decades
somewhere.
in the wake of Joe Biden's cheerleading for China.
What?
President Trump made that decision before the end of January to
I
suspend.
bet you somewhere
all
there's a
travel
picture
to
of Joe
China.
Biden in a red
And
tutu.
again, the American people deserve to know Joe Biden opposed President Trump's decision to suspend all travel from China. He said it was hysterical. He said it was
Thank you, Vice President
xenophobic.
Pence.
But President Trump has
Vice President
stood
Pence,
up
your
to
time is
China.
up.
We're going to continue to stand strong.
Thank you, Vice President Pence.
We want to improve the relationship, but we're going to level the
Ma'am,
playing
the
field.
man
We're
is
going to
talking.
hold
Vice President
China
Pence.
accountable for what they did to America with the coronavirus.
Thank you. Senator Harris, let me
I wasn't
ask you
talking to
the
you,
same
Diet Soda.
question that I asked the Vice President. How would you describe our fundamental relationship with China? Are we competitors, adversaries, enemies? You'll have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Susan, the Trump administration's perspective and approach to China has resulted in the loss of American lives, American jobs, and America's standing. There's a weird obsession that President Trump has had.
Pray
getting
tell
rid
me,
of
what
whatever
accomplishments were those?
accomplishment was achieved by President Obama and Vice President Biden. For example, they created within the White House an office that basically was responsible for monitoring pandemics. They got away, they got rid of it.
What?
Theirs
What about China?
was a team of disease
But that's an
experts
accomplishment?
that President Obama and Vice
Well,
President
come on,
Biden
church. There wasn't a whole lot to
dispatched
go
China
on, Colin. You got to give them something.
to monitor
No, I think he got the high
what
score at the
is
Mexican
now
border with
predictable
drone
and
strike.
what might happen. They pulled them out. We now are looking at
That's something to be proud of, right?
210,000
I mean, I
Americans
suppose.
who have
I mean,
lost their
especially drone
lives.
striking Americans.
Let's look at the job situation.
No
You
president in
mentioned
history has
before
ever droned
the
more
trade
Americans
deal,
than Barack
the
Obama.
trade war, they wanted to call it, with China. It resulted in the loss of over 300 manufacturing jobs and a manufacturing recession, and the American consumer paying
You think they're
thousands
going to
of
bring up
dollars
Black Lives
more
Matter
for
in the
goods
riots?
because of that failed war that they called it. Then let's talk about standing. Pew, a reputable research firm, has done an analysis that shows that leaders of all of our formerly allied countries have now decided that they hold in greater esteem and respect Xi Jinping,
Because
the
they
head
have to
of the
get the
Chinese
trade deals
Communist
with them.
Party, than they do Donald Trump, the president of the
That
United
always
States,
happens.
the commander-in-chief of the United States. This is where
When we
are
pulled out of
today.
China, we left a
Because of
vacuum,
a
you
failure
dumbass.
of
Well, it's also,
leadership
it's like
for
all
this
the world
administration.
leaders, look, Saudi Arabia, all these
Senator
guys, they know
Harris,
who to
we've
play
seen changes in
ball with.
the role of the United States in terms
Since
of
when did Joe
leadership
Biden stop
over the
liking
past
Xi
4 years.
Jinping? They were like
And tempestuous
buddies.
times do change.
They play golf
What's your
together.
definition? We've seen strains with China. of
They're
course,
definitely drinking
as the
buddies. I
Vice
know that for a
President
fact.
mentioned. We've seen strains with our traditional allies in NATO and elsewhere. What is your definition of the role of American leadership in 2020?
So You know,
I
Joe.
bet you do, Panama
I love
Red.
talking with Joe about a lot of these issues. And, you know, Joe, I think he said it quite well. He says, you know, foreign policy, it might sound complicated, but really it's relationships. So just think about it as relationships. And so we know this in our personal and professional relationships. You got to keep your word to your friends.
Let's talk about you and Joe's
You got to be loyal to your
relationship. This would be
friends. People
interesting.
who've stood with you, got to stand with them. You got to know who your
What about your
and
spouses?
keep them in check.
You got to stand with them.
But what we have seen with
What
Donald
about Willie
Trump
Brown's wife? Y'all
is
cool
that
still?
He has betrayed our
Y'all
friends.
still play bridge?
And
Yeah.
and embraced dictators around the world. Let's take, for example, Russia. So, Russia, I serve on the
Oh, then you should have to
Intelligence
stand
Committee
trial.
of the United States Senate. America's intelligence community told us Russia
man, we're doing the
interfered in
conspiracy
election of the
again.
President of the United States in 2016 and is playing in 2020. Christopher Wray, the director of the FBI.
They literally said there was no proof.
But Donald
Pence,
Trump, the
fry.
commander-in-chief of the United States
No,
of
no, he's
America,
not. He stepped down.
the first
Remember,
to take
after
the
Trump
word of
released all
Vladimir
those
Putin over
those
the word of the
emails,
American intelligence community.
he stepped down.
You look at our friends.
He's getting
at
ready to
NATO.
just stare a
He's
mud
willing
hole
to
in
Oh.
their eye.
play.
His eyes look
indeed.
like they're about to light up.
Iran nuclear deal.
Mic
Yeah.
drop
And
moment.
Electricity.
put us in a position
Is his
Hey,
hair
going
starting to
Super
stand up?
Saiyan.
safe because they
Yeah,
Mic
going
drop.
Super Saiyan.
what might end up being
This is gonna be a Mike
significant
Pence
nuclear-
drop.
We were in that deal, guys. We were in the Iran nuclear deal with friends.
No,
with
Kamala,
allies
your
around
time
the
is up.
country. And because of
2 minutes.
Donald Trump's unilateral
She's been going on for at least 3 minutes.
coupled with his isolationism, he pulled us out and has made America less safe. So, Susan, it's about relationships. And the thing that has
Mike got
always
looking
been
at his
part of the
watch like,
strength of our nation, in addition to our great military, has been that we keep our word. But Donald Trump doesn't understand that because he doesn't understand what it means to be honest.
Thank you, Senator Harris. Vice President Pence, let me give you a chance to respond.
Well, thank you.
Honest?
President Trump kept his word when we moved the American
Honest,
embassy to Jerusalem.
Doug. What's more honest than
Capital of the
honoring
state
your
of Israel.
marriage vows? What's
When
more
Joe Biden was
honest than
president, we
that?
promised to do that.
Well,
we did.
I think she was
We
talking
stood
about
strong
Trump there,
with our
about being
allies.
Oh,
honest.
I'm
We've been
sorry.
doing
Oh,
NATO is now
This from an
contributing more to our
adulteress?
common
I'm
defense
going to.
ever before,
Okay,
thanks
got
to
it.
President
Homewrecker.
Trump's leadership. We've strengthened our alliances across the Asia Pacific.
Don't waste your time on that.
And
Get
we've
to
stood
that
strong,
whole Christopher Wray
against
Russia
those who would do us
situation.
harm.
Let's talk about
You know, when
that.
President Trump
Talk
came
about
into
Russia,
office,
yeah.
ISIS
how quick
had
she shut
captured an
that.
area of the Middle East the size of Pennsylvania. But President Trump unleashed the American
Pennsylvania.
military, and our armed forces destroyed the ISIS
Keeps coming up.
caliphate and took down their
Yeah,
leader
oh, they're
al-Baghdadi
working it.
without one American casualty. Al-Baghdadi was responsible for the death of thousands.
I wish I could
Notably,
super
America's
chat
lost
something
today
about
with
the
family of
USS
Kayla
Liberty.
Miller, her parents of which are here with us tonight in Salt Lake
Are you
City.
trying to get us kicked off the
Today,
internet?
Two of the ISIS
No, to
killers
the debate.
responsible for killing Miller were brought to justice in the United States. Jihadi John was killed on the battlefield along with the other Beetle. The
I
reality
think we need to start a change.org petition to get Ricada Law to do the next debate.
breaks
To
my heart
moderate it
reflect
and read
on
super
Oh,
it.
he's
chats.
not- he's
Yeah.
on Twitter.
Presented a plan.
come.
They
Biden, I'm going to let you finish in a minute, but I got some $20 super chats to get through.
Let's go.
There might be some questions for you guys.
Yeah.
When Joe Biden was vice president, they hesitated for a month. And when armed forces finally went in, it was clear
Tech
she'd been moved 2 days
1488
earlier.
says.
And her family says with a heart that broke the heart of every American that if President Donald Trump had been president, they believe Kayla would be alive today.
Thank you, Vice
Look, we
President.
destroyed the
I
ISIS
suppose Miss
caliphate.
Staple brought me a whiskey.
And
Look
you
how
talk
nice.
about
Oh, that was nice of her.
the Iran nuclear deal. I mean, the last administration transferred $1.8 billion
See what happens when you don't call your wife a hag.
Thank you, Vice
of
President.
terrorism.
Look,
Yeah, I know,
look,
right?
Trump got us
look,
out of the
in
dark.
my
open.
defense,
And-
in my
and
defense,
Hassan
she was
Soleimani
attempting to talk,
traveling
but her mic was not hot.
to America.
And she had said the exact same
Thank you,
thing
Vice President.
that I did.
America is
that
is
she
safer,
thought you were
our
talking
allies
about
are
her.
Safer, and the American people know President Donald Trump will never
Thank you,
hesitate
Vice President.
to take
Pence.
action.
I would like to give
Thank you.
Senator Harris a chance to respond, but not at such great length because, of course, there are other topics we want to talk
But
about.
I would like equal time.
Yes,
I want
please.
not a great link. No, I want equal time.
First of all, to the Mueller family, I know about your daughter's case, and I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. What happened to her is awful,
What happened to the daughters?
and it should have never happened. And I know Joe feels the same way.
I think something happened to
And
one
I
of
know
Miller
that
daughters.
President Obama feels the same way.
Oh, okay. Thanks,
Um,
Church. Appreciate
But you
that.
mentioned Soleimani. Let's.
Oh, they were killed by ISIS?
So after the strike on Soleimani,
Huh.
there was a counter.
Wait, is that legit?
On our troops in Iraq.
Parents of Kayla Mueller, a humanitarian
And
worker who was held and
They
killed by
suffered
ISIS
serious brain injuries. And do you know what
Oh,
Donald
shit.
Trump dismissed them as?
Whose
Headaches.
daughter
back
was
in
that?
And
2015.
this is about a pattern of Donald Trump,
Mr. Mueller's
where
daughter.
he has referred
The
to
questioner
our
lady?
men who are serving in our
The moderator?
military as suckers and
No.
I'm not
liars.
sure. Trying to
Donald
find
The
Trump
out.
Mueller report or
went to
something, I think,
Arlington
right?
Cemetery
The person from
and
that.
stood above the graves of our fallen heroes and said, what's in it for them? Because of course, he only thinks about what's in it for him. Let's take what he said about John McCain, a great American hero. And Donald Trump says he doesn't deserve to be called a hero because he was a prisoner
You guys
of war.
said
And
far
this
worse
is
about John
very
McCain when he was running
when you
against
wanna
Obama.
talk about
Are you
the
serious?
current commander-in-chief and what they care about and what they don't care about. Public reporting that Russia had bounties on the heads of American soldiers.
What's a bounty?
And you know what a bounty is? It's somebody puts a price
How do you-
on your head. And
how do you know what that is,
you are
Kamala?
Killed.
Put a
And
How do you
couple
know
of
what that
people-
is, Doug?
Oh, she knows what a
26
bounty,
times
yeah.
To Vladimir Putin.
You paid some
And never
Bitcoin
brought up the
assassins?
subject. Joe Biden would never do
Pence
that.
should, he should
Joe
interrupt and
Biden
say,
would- but
I've seen
Joe
Boba Fett.
Biden
I know what,
Russia to account
I saw, we've all seen Empire. Come
to
on.
our nation's security or to our troops who are sacrificing
He'd be
their
getting votes
lives
right now
for the
if
sake
he
of
said
our
that.
democracy and our safety.
Thank you, Senator Harris. This is such an important issue, but we have other important issues as
Halt,
well.
don't
I
dig.
want to make sure we have a chance
I really
to
have to
talk about
respond to that.
I'm
Look, she has.
15 seconds because
Well, I got to
we're
have
trying
more
to
than
keep.
that. Look,
Well, I'm sorry, but Vice President
Look,
Pence, you've
I-
had more
Yeah,
time
I'm
than
going to take
she
some
said.
more.
the
So far,
slanders against President Donald Trump regarding men and women of our armed forces are absurd.
I'm sorry, Vice
My
President
son is
Pence.
a captain in the United
Yes.
States Marine Corps. My son-in-law is deployed in the United States Navy. I can assure all of you, with sons and daughters serving in our military, President Donald Trump not only respects but reveres all of those who serve in our armed forces, and any suggestion otherwise is ridiculous. Let
Thank
me
you,
also
Vice
say,
President Pence.
the
Vice
the
President
American
Pence,
people
you know,
deserve, Susan,
Vice
the
President
American
Pence,
people
I
deserve to
didn't,
know.
Vice President
that-
Pence, I did not,
the
excuse me.
Susan,
I didn't create them,
Joe
so we ain't
Biden-
following
Your
them. Shut up.
campaigns agreed to the rules for tonight's
I-
debate with the Commission on Presidential Debates. I'm here to enforce them, which involves moving from one topic to another, giving roughly equal time to both of you,
Go right ahead.
which is what I'm trying very hard to do.
Go right ahead.
Oh, she's
Who's actually-
mad.
Ahead and move to the next
Right?
topic, which is an important one.
Look at her, she's all
as the
nodding, all
last
happy.
topic
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
And that is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
get off that topic.
You
On
tell him.
Monday, the Senate
Dude,
Judiciary Committee is
this
scheduled
woman
to
is
open
like the
hearings on
fakest
Amy
person I've ever
Coney
seen in my
Barrett's
life.
Woman,
nomination
explain
to
the
Supreme
rules
Court. Senator
again to
Harris,
Pence one more
you'll
time.
be there as a
please.
member of the committee. Her confirmation would cement the court's conservative majority and make it likely open to more abortion restrictions, even to overturning the landmark Roe v. Wade ruling. Access to abortion would then be up to the states. Vice President Pence, you're the former governor of Indiana. If Roe v. Wade is overturned, what would you want Indiana to do? Would you want your home state to ban all abortions? You have 2 minutes, uninterrupted.
Well, thank you for the question, but I'll use a little bit of my time to respond to that very important issue before. The American people deserve to know Qasem Soleimani, the Iranian general, was responsible for the death of hundreds of American service members. When the opportunity came, we saw him headed to Baghdad to kill more Americans. President Trump didn't hesitate, and Qasem Soleimani is gone. But you deserve to know that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris actually criticized the decision to take out Qasem Soleimani. It's really inexplicable, but with regard to Joe Biden, it's
That's
explainable.
interesting.
Because history records that Joe Biden actually opposed the raid against Osama bin Laden. It's absolutely essential that we have a commander-in-chief who will not hesitate to act to protect American lives and to protect American service members, and that's what you have in President Donald Trump. Now, with regard to the Supreme Court of the United
Although I
States,
would be interested to
let me
know
say President Trump and I could not be
what
more enthusiastic
Biden's reasons were.
about the opportunity.
I mean, there
to
could
see Judge
be
Amy Coney Barrett become Justice.
factors
Amy
we're
Coney
not
Barrett.
aware of
And she's a brilliant woman. And,
that he would have
she
given that
bring a
advice.
lifetime of
So I don't want to
experience
like,
and a
just
sizable
because he
amount
said
Like a
don't
fake
do it.
to the Supreme Court. Of the
Well,
United
no. Like
And
like
our hope is in the hearing
optics,
next
you know, like
week,
we should
unlike
bring him in
Justice Kavanaugh
instead,
received,
you know,
with
instead of
treatment
killing
from you
him
and others.
or,
We hope she
um,
gets a
maybe.
fair hearing. And we particularly
I don't
hope
know. I
that we
think he
don't
wanted
see
to,
the kind of
you know,
attacks
consult
on
Corn
her
Pop.
Christian faith that we saw before. I mean, the Democrat chairman of the Judiciary Committee before, when Judge Barrett was being confirmed for the Court of Appeals, expressed concern that the dogma of her faith lived loudly in her. Dick Durbin of Illinois said that it was a concern. Senator, I know one of our judicial nominees, you actually attacked because they were a member of the Catholic Knights of Columbus.
All right, it's been an hour. I got to jump, guys.
Well, thanks
for coming,
Doug.
Thank you.
This has
Thank you,
been a
Vice President.
fascinating
So my
debate.
hope is
I
that
when
learned
the
so
hearing
much.
takes place,
Thank you, Vice
that Judge Amy Coney
Did it
Barrett
sway you?
will
Are
be
you voting blue
respected,
Thank you, Vice
this year,
President
Doug?
Pence.
voted and
Oh, my
confirmed by the
goodness.
Supreme Court of the United States.
Senator
I'm going to
Harris,
vote for
you're the
Trump
senator
so
from and former
hard.
Attorney General of
I barely
California.
even
So let me ask
respect
you
the
a
guy, and I'm
parallel
going to vote
question
for
to the one
Trump
I posed
at
to
least
you.
7 times.
If Roe v. Wade
Just
was
to save,
overturned, what would you
just to
want
save America.
California to do? Would
I
you
don't
want
even
your
know
home
what to
state to
do if
enact
he loses.
no
Good.
restrictions
Just get a
on
lot of
access
hats.
to
They'll never
abortion?
recognize you
And you
going in
have
more than
2
once.
minutes.
But that's exactly
Thank
it,
you,
man. I got to
Susan.
find
First of
some.
all,
Well, I'm in
Joe Biden
Tennessee,
and
so
I are
we,
both
you know how
people of
we
faith.
are. We go
Yeah,
for
yeah.
Trump.
And it's
You know,
insulting.
Oh, this ought to be
I don't even
good.
have to even vote, and
I
he'll
want to
come
hear.
through.
I want to hear her.
Knock anyone for their faith. And in fact, Joe, if elected,
People
will
of
be only
faith.
the second
Wow.
practicing Catholic as president of the United States. On the issue of this nomination, Joe and I are very clear, as are the majority of the American people.
I find that hard to
We are
believe.
27 days before the decision about who
She's
will
talking
be
about
the
Kennedy
next
was
president
first.
of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, before, when this conversation has come up, you know, it's been about election year or election time. We're
He's a
literally
Catholic who's
in an
denied
election.
communion because of his position on
Over
abortion.
4
How's
million
that?
Right.
people have voted.
How's that, my people?
People
I
are
tell
in
you
the
what, man, you
process
got to
of
be pretty
voting
jacked
right
up for the
now.
Catholic
And
Church
so
to say we
Joe
don't
has
want
been
you.
very
That's
clear,
right.
as the
I'm
American
just
people
saying.
are.
Yeah, we'll take
Let
the other
American people
pedophiles.
fill that
But
I'm
seat,
just
no,
saying, man.
no,
and then
you
we'll
kill
fill
babies.
that seat on the
We
Yeah,
won't.
we're going to
You're
deny
not
your
To
welcome.
your
communion.
point,
Sorry.
Susan,
Yep.
the issues before us couldn't be more serious. There's the issue of choice.
All right, I'm out, my
and
friends.
I
God
will
bless you
always
guys.
fight
All right.
for a woman.
Have a
Later,
good one,
Doug.
Doug.
Thanks
Have
for
a great
coming.
time. Thanks for having me on. It was so
It
nice
should
to
be
meet you
her
guys.
decision and not that of Donald Trump
It was fun, man.
and the Vice President, Michael Pence. But let's also look at what else is before the court. It's the Affordable Care Act.
If she wants to kill
Literally
herself,
in
she
the
has the
midst
right to
of a
do that.
public
It's just
health
she doesn't have the right to
pandemic,
decide whether or not a baby lives or
when
dies.
over 210,000 people have died and 7 million people probably have what will be in the future considered a pre-existing condition because you contracted the virus. Donald Trump is in court right now trying to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. And I said it before. And
Well,
it bears
gosh, if
repeating.
people didn't change
means
healthcare
that
insurance
there will
every
be
12
no more
months,
protections if they win
it wouldn't
for
be a
people with
pre-existing condition.
conditions. This means that over 20 million people will lose your coverage. It means that if you're under the age of 26, you can't
God damn it,
stay on
you
your
shouldn't
parents'
have to.
coverage anymore. And here's the thing. The contrast couldn't be more clear. They're trying
When
to
did
get
we
rid of the
stop being
Affordable
adults
Care
at
Act. Joe
18? When did
Biden is saying, let's
26 become
expand
the new
coverage.
cut the
Let's
cord?
give you a choice of a public option or private coverage. Let's
Don't go down that road,
let's lower
church.
Medicare
It's
eligibility to 60.
Thank
people
you,
start
Senator.
calling you a
That's true.
pedophile.
You know, you mentioned earlier, Vice President Pence, that the president was committed to maintaining
Whoa.
protections for people with pre-existing conditions. But you do
Joe
have this
Biden
full
was
case
trying to
that you are
cut
supporting, the
Medicare and
administration
Social
supporting,
Security.
that would
Now he
strike
wants
down
to lower the
the
age to
Affordable Care Act.
60?
The president
Joe
says,
Biden
President Trump
opposed
says that
deep
he's going to protect
segregation,
people
didn't he?
with pre-existing conditions, but he has not explained.
Well, he just said he didn't
how
want his
he
kids
would
going to
do that.
jungles for
And that was one of
schools.
the toughest nuts to crack.
Racial
when they were
jungles, sorry.
passing the Affordable Care
Okay.
Act. So tell us specifically.
I thought it was
how would
concrete
your
jungles.
administration
No,
protect
racial
Americans with
jungles.
pre-existing
Oh,
No,
okay.
conditions
concrete.
have access
That's
to affordable
Coolio.
insurance if the Affordable Care Act is struck down?
Well, thank you, Susan. But let me just say, addressing your very first question, I couldn't be more proud to serve as vice president to a president who stands without apology for the sanctity of human life. I'm pro-life. I don't apologize for it. And this is another one of those cases where there's such a dramatic contrast. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris support taxpayer funding of abortion all the way up to the moment of birth. Late-term abortion. They want
No, you
increased
don't.
funding to Planned
Why are you
Parenthood
shaking your
of
head?
America. Now, for our part, I would never presume how Judge Amy Coney Barrett would rule on the Supreme Court of the United States, but we'll continue to stand strong for the right to life. When you speak about the Supreme Court, though, I think the American people really deserve an answer, Senator Harris. Are you and Joe Biden going to pack the court if Judge Amy Coney Barrett is confirmed? I mean, there have been 29 vacancies on the Supreme Court during presidential election years, from George Washington to Barack Obama. Presidents have nominated in all 29 cases. But your party is actually openly advocating adding seats to the Supreme Court, which has had 9 seats for 150 years, if you don't get your way. This is a classic case of if you can't win by the rules, you're going to change the rules. Now, you've refused to answer the question. Joe Biden has refused to answer the question. So I think the American people would really like to know, if Judge Amy Coney Barrett is confirmed to the Supreme Court of the United States, are you and Joe Biden, if somehow you win this election, going to pack the Supreme Court to get your way?
I'm so glad we went through a little history lesson. Let's do that a little more. In 1864.
Well, I'd like you to answer the question.
Mr.
Yes,
Vice President, I'm speaking.
What a
I'm
bitch.
speaking. Okay. In 1864, one of the, I think, political heroes, certainly of the president, I assume if you also, Mr. Vice President, is Abraham Lincoln.
Mm-hmm.
Abraham Lincoln was up for re-election, and it was 27 days before the election, and a seat became open on the United States Supreme Court. Abraham Lincoln's party was in charge not only of the White House, but the Senate. But Honest Abe said it's not the right thing to do.
Oh, that's
The
a nice
American
little
people
platitude
deserve to make
that
the
you just pulled
decision
out there.
about
Right.
who will be the next president of the United
Honest
States.
Abe.
And then that person can select who will serve for a lifetime on the highest court of our land. And so Joe and I are very clear.
Didn't
The
Obama put
American
somebody in the
people
court
are
during an
voting
election year?
right
Okay, what
now.
was?
Oh, he
and
tried.
It would be their decision.
But he
And
didn't have
Washington-
the Senate.
about who
Washington
will
set the precedent
serve on this
precedents
most important
that
body
a president
for a lifetime.
only serves 2 terms.
And
Senator
the American
Harris.
people, Susan, are voting right
Doesn't-
now. They'd like to know if you and Joe Biden are going to pack the Supreme Court if you don't get your way in this nomination.
Let's talk about
Answer
that.
the
Once
question.
You gave a non-answer. Joe Biden gave a non-answer.
Trying to answer you
The
now.
American people deserve a straight answer. And if you haven't figured it out yet, the straight answer is they are going to pack the Supreme Court if they somehow win this election. Men and
Mr.
women,
Vice President,
I got to
I
tell you,
think
people across this country, if you cherish
Well,
our
it's worked
Supreme
for her in the
Court, if
past.
you cherish the separation of
Yeah.
powers.
No,
you
getting
get
stuffed.
The Biden-Harris ticket, come November the 3rd, re-elect President Donald Trump, and we'll stand by
Well,
the
you know,
separation
first,
of powers in a
and then
9-seat
down.
Supreme Court.
Yeah,
Thank
let's
you.
talk about packing the court. Let's talk about the
Please.
fact. Yeah, I'm about to.
Karen Harris.
So the Trump-Pence administration has been.
You sit on a lot of
I sit the
things
Senate
and you don't
Judiciary
do
Committee,
anything
Susan,
on
as you
any of
mentioned.
them.
And I've witnessed the appointments for lifetime appointments to the federal courts, district courts, courts of appeal. People who are purely ideological, people who have been reviewed by legal professional organizations and found to have been not competent, are substandard. And do you know that of the 50 people who President Trump
Has she ever
appointed to the
heard a
Court of
lawyer
Appeals
joke?
for lifetime appointments, not one is black? This is what they've been doing. You want to talk about packing a court? Let's have that discussion.
Also,
Thank you.
if you're
Thank
not
you, Senator.
following
Let's go
Recated
on and
live
talk about
tweets,
the issue
Not
of
you're missing
one is
out.
racial
black.
justice.
I just want the record to reflect she never answered the question. So I think the American people,
Thank
maybe
you.
the next debate, Joe Biden will answer the question.
you,
But I think
thank
the
you.
American people know the answer.
Thank you, Vice President.
My goodness, that monster.
In March, Breonna Taylor, a 26-year-old emergency room technician in Louisville, was shot and killed after police officers executing a search warrant in a narcotics investigation broke into her apartment. The police
Oh,
said
Lord.
they identified themselves. Taylor's boyfriend said he didn't hear them do that. He used a gun registered to him to fire a shot, which wounded an officer.
Do police
The
actually
officers
break
then
into
fired
people's
more than
apartments?
20 rounds into the apartment. They say they were
I
acting
mean,
in
sometimes, but
self-defense.
usually only when
None
you're a
of them have
drug
been
dealer.
indicted in connection with Senator Harris, in the case of Breonna Taylor, was justice done? You have 2 minutes.
I don't believe so. And I've talked with Breonna's mother, Tamika Palmer, and her family. And her family deserves justice. She was a beautiful young woman. She had as her life goal to become a nurse. And
How'd you find that out?
EMT to
Talking
first
to her
learn
family?
what's
That what they
going
said?
on out on the street, so she could then become a nurse and save lives. And her life was taken unjustifiably and tragically and violently.
She got fired from that
And it
job
just-
when they
it
found a
brings
dead
me
body in her
to,
rental car. But
you know,
oops.
the
Yeah, we don't
8
wanna talk
minutes
about
and
that,
46
Q.
No,
seconds
we don't wanna talk
America
about that.
Witnessed, during which
I mean, I don't know.
American man
That whole idea of nurses
was
driving around
tortured
with dead
and
bodies.
killed
Hold on.
under the knee of an armed
Oh, now it's
uniformed
about
police officer.
George Floyd.
And people around our country of every race, of every age.
I'm sure
of
like
every
500
gender,
milligrams
perfect strangers to each other,
of fentanyl
marched shoulder to
didn't
shoulder,
help.
arm in arm.
I'm sorry, 1,500
Fighting.
milligrams of fentanyl didn't
Oh
help.
no, she's
For us
justifying
to
the riots
finally
now,
achieve
Q.
that ideal of equal justice under law. And I was a part of those.
She ran up in a
peaceful
Gucci
protests.
store, Q.
Wait. Is
And
she telling us that for
That
150
That,
years
first of all, we are never
that
gonna
we did
condone
not
violence,
have at
but we
all
always must
codified
fight
in law
for the
equality under the
values that
law?
we hold dear, including
Like,
the
I'm not
fight
talking
towards
about
human
actual
rights.
in
And that's why Joe
practice.
Biden and I have said
I'm
on
talking
this
about
subject,
the letter of
look,
the
I'm
law.
I'm a former
Is she
peer
saying
yeah,
that
and-
that
I
hasn't
know what I'm
existed
talking
for
about. Bad cops are bad for
150
good
years?
cops. We
Correct,
need
yes.
reform
And it took
of
the death
our
of George
policing in
Floyd to
America and our
fix
criminal
that?
justice system, which is why
Where
Right.
have the changes
You
been?
understand.
immediately ban chokeholds and carotid holds. George Floyd would be alive
If
today.
only
We will
during the
require
50
national
years that Joe has been in
police
office, he
officers
could
who
have
break
done
the
something
law.
about it.
We will, on the issue of criminal justice reform,
No,
get
George
rid
Floyd would have been alive
private
had he
prisons
not like
and
swallowed
cash
a
bail, and
Thank
we
you.
will
crap
decriminalize
ton of
marijuana,
fentanyl.
and
Thank
we
you,
will.
Senator.
Whoa
we
there.
will
You're
expunge
starting
the
to sound
records
like
of those who have
Osmodeus.
been
Senator
convicted
He also
of
had
marijuana. This
COVID,
is a
in
time
all
for
fairness.
leadership on a
He had COVID.
tragic,
And I'm sure that was
tragic
Trump's
issue.
Senator Harris,
fault
your
too.
time
Unarmed
is up.
black people in
Yeah.
Well,
America.
yeah, because
Well, he got it
he
from Trump.
because he
Vice
didn't
President,
lock down the country
Expunge
fast
Are you
enough.
kidding me? You
In
put
the
those
case
people
of
in
Breonna
jail.
Taylor,
Wait a minute. You put
was
those,
justice done?
please, somebody.
You have 2 minutes.
You put them in
uninterrupted.
jail.
Well, our heart breaks.
Now you're going to sponge their
for the loss
records?
of any innocent American life. And the family of Breonna Taylor has our sympathies. But I trust our justice system, a grand jury that refused the evidence. And it really is remarkable that as a former prosecutor, you would assume that an impaneled grand jury looking at all the evidence got it wrong. But
Ooh,
you're entitled to your opinion,
Get him.
Senator. I think, look, and with regard to George Floyd, there's no excuse for what happened to George Floyd. Justice will be served. But
I
there's
knew
also
it.
no excuse for the
I knew it.
rioting and looting that followed.
Mike about to get him.
I mean, it really is astonishing. Flora
Mike's about to
Westbrook
get
is
'em,
with us
boys.
here tonight in Salt Lake City. Just a few weeks ago, I stood at what used to be her salon, was burned to the ground by rioters and looters. And Flora is still trying to put her life back together. And I must tell you, this presumption that you hear consistently from Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, that America is systemically racist, and that, as Joe Biden said, that he believes that law enforcement has an implicit bias against minorities, is a great insult to the men and women who serve in law enforcement. And I want everyone to know who puts on the uniform of law enforcement every day. And President Trump,
Oh my gosh, he does.
stand with you.
He's got a fly on
It
his
is
head.
remarkable
That fly is going to be
that
so
when
high.
Senator Tim Scott police reform bill,
That
brought together
fly.
a group of Republicans and Democrats.
No, it's still there.
It's
It
still
just
there.
walked up to the top of his head.
And then you filibustered Senator Tim Scott's bill on the Senate floor that would have provided new accountability.
She tried not to
new
laugh.
resources. But we don't have to choose between supporting law enforcement.
That fly
Oh my
can't
gosh.
move if it wanted to.
This man has a nerve of steel. I would be like, get all you.
Under President Trump's leadership,
Thank you,
we will
Vice President.
always
He
stand with
can't
law
feel it. That
enforcement.
hair
We
is like
will
a,
do
he's got
what we do
Vice
from
President
day
Pence,
one
thank
a
to
you.
hair
improve
helmet
the
on right now.
lives of African Americans.
Thank you, Vice
Record
President Pence.
unemployment.
Oh
record
man, he is
education, and the fight
unflappable.
for school choice for
His hair
all
is
Americans.
rhino
I'd like to
lining.
respond.
Senator Harris.
I will not sit here and be lectured by the vice president on what it means to enforce the laws of our country. I am the only one on this stage who was personally prosecuted, everything from child sexual assault to homicide. I'm the only one on this stage who has prosecuted the big banks
And even
for taking
nothing at
advantage
all.
of America's homeowners. I'm the only one on this stage.
I'm fascinated by this
prosecuted
fly
for
now. I'm
profit
just watching him walk around.
taking
That's sad.
advantage of our government.
Oh my gosh.
That fly
reality
is
of
so
this
high
is
after being in cocaine here.
we
It
are
doesn't even know where it's
talking
at
about an
anymore.
election
You know,
in 27
this
days,
either
where
shows
last
that
week, the president of the
Pence
United
is
States took
either a
big
man of
stage in
steel,
front of 70 million
that
Americans
he doesn't care
and
that a fly
refused
is
to
on his head,
condemn white supremacists.
Not true.
or
And
that he doesn't have an
it
earwig
wasn't like he didn't have
for
a
someone to tell him,
chance.
hey, dude, you got a fly in your
didn't
head,
do
you should
it,
maybe
and then he
swat
doubled
it away.
And then he said, when pressed, stand back,
Well,
stand by. And this is a part of a pattern of Donald Trump's.
Oh, someone
He
might. Oh,
called
that finally left.
Mexicans rapists and criminals.
you know what the
instituted
memes are
his
going to
first
be,
act
though?
a
Like, I hate
Muslim
to
ban.
say it, but
He
this is going to be
unleashed on
like
Charlottesville,
Bernie with the bird
where
next to
people
Pence
were
with the fly.
peacefully protesting the need for racial justice, where a young woman was killed, and on the other side there were neo-Nazis carrying
Only
tiki
one or
torches,
two, Kamala. Calm
shouting
down.
racial epithets, anti-Semitic slurs.
Oh, now
And
it's
Donald
against the
Trump, when
Jews, so it's
asked about it,
okay.
said there were fine people.
Or no, that's
on
not what
both
it.
sides. This is
Now
who we
we're
have
in
as the
support of the
president of the
Jews.
United States and America. You deserve
Screw him
better.
in New York for
Joe
not wearing
Biden will be a
masks,
president
but
who brings our country together
Senator Harris.
and recognizes the beauty in our diversity and the fact that we
Senator
all
Harris,
have
thank
so
you.
much more in common than what separates us.
Vice President Pence, let me give you a minute to respond.
Thank you, Susan. I appreciate that very much.
The fly stands with Pence and
You know, I
Trump.
think this is one of the things that makes people dislike the media so much in this country, Susan, is that you selectively edit, just like Senator Harris did, comments that President Trump and I and
Pence
others
so rotten that a
announced
fly
on the
lands
internet.
on his head.
I mean, Senator Harris conveniently omitted after the president made comments about people on either side of the debate over monuments.
Pence wouldn't even hurt a
he
fly.
condemned the KKK, neo-Nazis, and white supremacists, and he's done so repeatedly.
He values life so much he won't even kill a
Concerned that he
fly on his
doesn't
head.
Condemn neo-Nazis. President Trump has Jewish grandchildren. His daughter and son-in-law are Jewish. This is a president who respects and cherishes all of the American people. But you talk about having personally prosecuted. I'm glad you brought up your record, Senator.
Thank you.
Get him.
I really need to make this point. When you were DA in San Francisco, when you
Make
left
that
office,
face at him, dog.
African Americans were 19 times more likely to be
no.
prosecuted for minor
He's got to make a point.
offenses than whites
Get it.
and Hispanics.
Woo.
When you were Attorney General of
Let's get it.
California,
Thank you,
you
Vice President.
increased the disproportionate incarceration of
Thank you.
blacks in California. You did nothing on criminal justice reform in California. You didn't lift a finger to
you.
pass the First Step Act on Capitol Hill. I mean, the reality is your record
Thank
speaks
you,
for
Vice
itself.
President
President
Pence.
Trump.
This is a perfect time to panic.
For criminal justice reform.
Thank you, Vice President
We fought for
Pence.
educational choice.
Oh,
and
you're shutting him up
opportunities for
now?
Americans, all of our
Thank you,
minorities.
sir.
Well, I guess we're stopping a
Thank you.
murder, so
You know,
it's
there's
okay.
no more important issue than the final issue that we're going to talk about tonight, and that is the issue of the election
But
itself.
Susan, he attacked my
Wait,
record. I
what?
would like an opportunity to respond.
Let me give you 30 seconds because we're
Oh
running
yeah,
out
she's
of time.
she's done.
appreciate that.
She's over it.
Oh, no.
Having served as the Attorney General of the state of California, the work that I did is a model of what our nation needs to do, and we will be able to do under a Joe Biden presidency.
Wait, is she just saying
Our-
that false
Our
prosecutions are
agenda
something we need to
includes
do
what this
nationwide?
administration has failed to do.
Right.
It will be about not only instituting a
Right.
ban
Stop
on
and frisk
chokeholds
lead
and
too many
carotid holds,
legitimate
not only
arrests.
Thank you, Senator.
That we
I
all
would like
need
to
to
go through-
do things for our bosses to get ahead?
Itself before we have to.
talk about the connection between what Joe and I will do and my
No
record,
reaction from
which
Diet Soda on that
includes,
one.
I was the first
Good.
statewide officer to institute a requirement that
I don't
my
think she heard
agents
me.
would wear body cameras and keep them on full time. We were the first to initiate a requirement that there would be a training for law enforcement on implicit bias because, yes, Joe Biden and I recognize that implicit bias does exist, Mr. Vice President, contrary to what you may believe. We did the work of instituting reforms that were about investing in reentry. This is the work that we have done and the work we will do going forward. And again, I will not be lectured by the Vice President on our record of what we have done in terms of law enforcement and keeping our communities safe. And a
Does she want to
commitment
bang
reforming
Mike
the
Pence
criminal
right now?
justice
Is
system
that
of
what's
America.
happening?
Thank you, Senator Harris. And I'd like to pose.
Well, love and hate, they're
First,
so
I'd like you
close.
to respond first to the question on our final topic, the election itself. President Trump has several times refused to commit himself to a peaceful transfer of power after the election. If your ticket wins and President Trump refuses to accept
This
a
question
peaceful
sounds
transfer of
familiar. Did I
power,
hear it 4 years
what
ago?
steps would you and Vice President Biden then take? What would happen next? You have 2 minutes.
So I'll tell you, Joe and I are, I think, particularly proud of the
Joe and
coalition that
I,
we've built
like-
around our campaign. We probably have one of the
They
broadest
still
coalitions
haven't relinquished.
ever seen in a presidential race. Of course, we have the support of Democrats, but also independents. and
You guys are
Republicans. In
ahead of
fact,
me, I think.
7 members of President
Did you
George
pause
W.
it at
Bush's
all?
cabinet are supporting our ticket. We have the support of
Or has it
Colin
buffered?
Powell, Cindy McCain,
Q?
John Kasich.
I don't
over
believe so.
500
Okay.
generals, retired generals, and former national security experts and advisors.
Down
are
in the
supporting
corner,
our
you should be able to see,
and
there
I
should be a
believe they are
live
doing
button.
that because they
If you
know
hit that, it'll probably
Joe-
bring you live. Shoot, I goofed up. I hit the pause button. Oh dear. Because accidentally I didn't think it would do that. No, oh boy. I came at a weird time. Can't hear anyone.
I'm not talking.
Uh-oh.
You mean your 4 votes?
He's probably talking about the debate. All right,
He
they're
openly
fixed.
attempted to suppress the vote. Joe Biden,
I
on
don't
the other
know.
hand, on that same debate stage, because clearly Donald Trump doesn't think he can run on a record because it's a failed record, Joe Biden on that stage said, hey, just please vote. So I'll repeat what Joe said. Please vote.
Thank you, Senator. Vice President Pence, President Trump has several times refused to commit himself to a peaceful transfer of power after the election. If Vice President Biden is declared the winner and President Trump refuses to accept a peaceful transfer of power, what would be your role and responsibility as Vice President? What would you personally do? You have 2 minutes.
Well, Susan, first and foremost, I think we're going to win this election. Because while Joe Biden and Kamala Harris rattle off a long litany of the establishment in Washington, D.C., an establishment that Joe Biden's been a part of for 47 years, President Donald Trump has launched a movement of everyday Americans from every walk of life. And I have every confidence that those same Americans that delivered that historic victory in 2016, they see this president's record where we rebuild our military, we revived our economy through tax cuts and rolling back regulation, fighting for fair trade, unleashing American energy. We appointed conservatives to our federal courts at every level. And we stood with the men and women of law enforcement every single day. And I think that movement of Americans has only grown stronger in the last 4 years. But when you talk about accepting the outcome of the election, I must tell you, Senator, your party has spent the last 3.5 years trying to overturn the results of the last election.
Got him.
It's amazing. When Joe Biden was vice president of the United States, the FBI actually spied on President Trump and my campaign. I mean, there were documents released this week that the CIA actually made a referral to the FBI documenting that those allegations were coming from the Hillary Clinton campaign. And of course, we've all seen the avalanche, what you put the country through for the better part of 3 years until it was found that there was no obstruction, no collusion, case closed. And then, Senator Harris, you and your colleagues in the Congress tried to impeach the President of the United States over a phone call. And now Hillary Clinton
And make me
actually said to
president.
Joe Biden that in her words, under no circumstances should he concede the election. So Let me just say, I think we're going to win this election. President Trump and I are fighting every day in courthouses to prevent Joe Biden and Kamala Harris from changing the rules and creating this universal mail-in voting that will create a massive opportunity for voter fraud. And we have a free and fair election. We know we're going to have confidence in it. And I believe in all my heart that President Donald Trump's going to be reelected for 4 more years.
You know, I've written all the questions that I've asked tonight, but for the final question of the debate,
You've written them
I'd
all?
like to read a question that someone else wrote. The Utah Debate Commission asked students in the state to write essays about what
You kind of
they
sound like
would
that
to
body
ask.
language
And I
gal
want
on
to
YouTube
close
right
tonight's
now.
debate with the question posed by
Yeah, a little bit.
Brecklin Brown. She's an 8th grader at Springville Junior High in Springville, Utah. And here's what she wrote, quote, "When I watch the news, all I see is arguing between Democrats and Republicans. When I watch the news, all I see is citizen fighting against citizen. When I watch the news, all I see are 2 candidates from opposing parties trying to tear each other down. If our leaders can't get along, how are the citizens supposed to get
Good,
along?"
good.
And
I
she
don't want
added,
them to get along. I want them to fight, because if they're
"Could make
fighting,
all the
they're not
difference
doing
to
anything to
bring
me.
us together." End quote. So to each of you in turn, I'd like you to take 1 minute and respond to Brecklin. Vice President Pence, you have 1 minute.
Brecklin, it's a wonderful question. And let me just commend you for taking an interest in public life. I started following the news when I was very young.
800 years ago.
And in America, we believe in free and open exchange of debate. And we celebrate that. And it's how we've created literally the freest and most prosperous nation in the history of the world. But I would tell you that don't assume that what you're seeing on your local news networks is synonymous with the American people. You know, I look at the relationship between Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the late justice who we just lost from the Supreme Court, and the late Justice Antonin Scalia. They
Oh,
are
shit.
polar opposites on the Supreme Court of the United States. One very liberal, one very conservative. But what's been learned since her passing was the 2 of them and their families were the very closest of friends. I mean, here in America, we can disagree. We can debate vigorously, as Senator Harris and I have on this stage tonight.
He's good. I like him.
When the
He's
debate is
calm,
over,
he's cool.
we come together as Americans. And that's what people do in big cities and
At
small
River
towns
Steel.
all across this country. So I just want to encourage you, Brecklin. I want to tell you that we're going to work every day to have government as good as our people. And the American people each and every day love a good debate. We love a good argument. But we always come together and are always there for one another
Thank you,
in
Vice
times of
President.
need. And we've especially learned that
Thank you,
through
Mr.
the
Vice President.
difficulties of this year.
Senator Harris, what would you say to Brecklin?
First of all, I love hearing from our young leaders. And when I hear her words, when I hear your words, Brecklin, I know our future is bright, because it is that perspective on who we are and who we should be that is a sign of leadership and is something we should all aspire to be. And that, you know, that brings me to Joe. Joe Biden, one of the reasons that Joe decided to run for president is
Because
after
we needed a
Charles
white
Ford
man
talked
to
about
get
it.
me into the office.
It so troubled him.
Well,
it upset
let's-
him like it
let's
did all
break
of
this
us,
down
that there
a
was
little
that
bit,
kind
actually.
of hate and
She
division.
just
What
veered straight to
propelled
Joe
to run for
Biden,
president
where Pence
was to see
was
that over
just
the course
like,
of the last 4 years, what
he
Brecklin
made an
described
anecdote
has
about
been
Ruth Bader
happening.
Ginsburg in a
Joe
positive
has
light.
a long-standing reputation
Right.
of working across
You know,
the
he
aisle,
talked about
and working in a
unity,
bipartisan way.
and now
and that's
she's
what
just
he's gonna
pitching
do
Joe
as
Biden
president.
some more. Like, she doesn't have
Joe
an answer.
Biden
She doesn't
has
have
a
any hope.
history of lifting people up and fighting for their dignity. You mean, you have to know Joe's story to know that Joe has known pain.
We
he
do
has
know
known
his
that.
suffering, and he has known love.
He's known Corn
Well,
Pop,
And
too.
so,
Yeah, Corn Pop
when
is
you
the
think
source of his
about the
pain.
future, I do believe the future is bright.
And he's
And
had
it will
furry
be because of
legs.
your leadership.
And the children playing with his
and it
furry
will
legs has
be
brought him joy.
because we fight for each person's voice.
Oh yeah, and you
We're their
gotta
vote,
say thank you to that
we
black
get
woman who
engaged in
stocked the
this
shelves
election
for him so he could stay in his
you have
basement
the
safe
ability
and
through
sound.
your work
And remember, if you
through
don't vote for Joe, you ain't black.
eventually your vote
You ain't black.
to determine the future of our country and what its leadership looks like.
Thank you.
I, for one,
Senator
look
Harris.
forward
Thank you,
to
Vice
the
President.
astounding
Thank you so
heights
much for being with us tonight.
that Q will get to
We
when
want to
he
thank
loses his
also
melanin.
the University of Utah for its hospitality, and most of all, our thanks to
Well,
all
when
the
you get
Americans
your
who
white
watched
people
this
check
debate
of like $50
tonight.
million,
Again,
can I
our
borrow a
best
couple
wishes for a
bucks?
quick recovery.
Yeah, I
President
got you.
Trump, the First Lady, and everyone who is
You
battling
white people have it so easy. I assume
The
you just get a
second
check.
presidential debate
Yes, we
is
do.
next week on October 15th.
Every
Senate
2
House
weeks.
Style debate in Miami. We hope you'll join us then. Good evening.
No,
Osmodeus,
not a
I
pay
was-
check. I
They
get one of
can, they
those
can
too.
forget the check, man. I want like 80 acres of Yellowstone.
I mean, if you're
Hey.
white, just fucking world's your oyster, Q. Go get it.
All right, guys. Well, hey, it's been great. I thought the debate was at 7, so I'm an hour behind.
Sounds good.
Wow, she brought her white husband out. I'm
Her white
surprised. Her white husband.
Isn't he a famous lawyer?
I don't know, but they've been
I
hiding
forget
him for a
what
while.
company it is. He's a lawyer for some company that works for some pharmaceutical.
America's not ready for an interracial marriage. Come on now. It's too racist for that.
I'm surprised Biden picked her because of that.
Right? Yeah, social distance, y'all. All right, y'all. Hey, have a good night. Great visiting with you. Thank you guys for viewing. Make sure you guys check us out on Sunday. We'll see you guys soon.
Night, everyone.
Night,
Have a good
everybody.
one, guys. Good night.